But in all honesty, here's the thing. Doesn't matter if it's a male or a female. If you live a sheltered life, where regardless of whether or not there's a father in the household or not, you are overly protected by your parents. And while being overly protected by your parents are not teaching you defensive and survival skills. You lack that as an adult. Most of us were taught stranger danger when we were growing up, but we were only taught not to accept candy from strangers and get into vehicles that we don't recognize. Typically, we're taught about that after somebody in the neighborhood's kid got took. We're not taught about that before we learn how to walk. We're not taught about that before we learn how to run. We are taught about that when we start leaving our parents' side. Um, we don't teach our children to stay next to us when we commute in public until one of the kids came up missing for a little bit. Then we start teaching all the children we have, stay at my side, hold hands, did all the tactics to prevent the children from coming up missing again. If she lived the sheltered life, she's not going to assume danger. So she's going to have two headphones in because she's not going to expect somebody to rob her. She's not going to expect somebody to run her over with a car. She's not going to expect a noise to notify her that she needs to move out of the way, and she's going to ignore everything in her environment. There's nothing you can do about that. You adapt to that by being overly protective if she will allow it. That's the only way that you rectify that. Because all of the stuff that she's oblivious to, it's going to be like those cartoons where the girl is walking down the street and the guy is jumping in front of cars, getting beat up by bandits. She's stepping on him because he's laying in the water to keep her from stepping in the water puddle. He falls into the pit to keep her from falling into the pit. He getting hit by anvils and all of this stuff to keep her from getting hurt. And the whole time she never knew that she was in danger, like them Tom and Jerry cartoons. That's the kind of relationship you're gonna have. Or or you can start teaching her how to protect herself. You can teach her how to only have one headphone in. She's not going to understand, why do we buy two if we can only wear one? Well, you got to hear what's going on around you in case a car goes off the road. You have to know what's going on around you. Those of us that live in dangerous societies, in dangerous neighborhoods, we are always looking around. We're always looking behind us. We're always listening. What's that sound? We don't have a bunch of loud music blaring where we can't hear somebody creep up behind us. We walk at an uneven pace so that if we slow down our step just a millimeter, we can hear steps behind us. But that happens from always living with hypervigilance and always being in danger. So it's good to know that she's helpful. And about her telling people where she works, there's no problem with that. That's promotion. I used to tell people where I work. You're going to say, well, she's a girl, so they're going to do something to her. But guess what? If that person, male or female, thinks she's an awesome person and she works down the street and they're going to come to her job while she's at work, her telling people where she works and what hours that she works allows her to gain clientele. She's on her way to work and she works at a coffee shop or a restaurant or something to that effect where she's a server. Doesn't matter if you believe it's a dirty old man or whatever. He's going to go sit on her job and spend money and tip her because he likes her or he's fascinated by her or whatever the case may be. That's how she's going to get tips. People are going to say, oh, that's stupid. She's going to get hurt, blah, 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 blah. But everybody who works in hospitality knows that they tell their customers what days out of the week that they're going to be at work, when they clock out, when they clock in, so that the customers come back to give them money. So there isn't a problem with that, what she's doing. You have to be able to teach her how to observe the behavior of the person that she's talking to determine if that person has positive intentions. Now, as far as her getting off from work and you not feeling that she's safe, get her a car so that she can get home on her own, or have her pay for a cab to make sure that she gets home safe, or you go get her from. You see that on the rom-coms all the time, where the oblivious girl that doesn't know about her surroundings got hurt. The guy that likes her and she doesn't know that he likes her because she's not paying attention is standing outside of her job waiting on her to get off. And when he's there every day, she just expects him to be there without knowing why he's there. It's the same thing. He says she's packing a snuff nose 22 in her purse. If he teach her to pack that snuff nose, she need to get that M&P 22. No, the M&P 12 gauge. She needs to stuff that bad boy into her purse. women with purses should have compacts. They should have compacts, not pepper spray. They should have compacts. Glock 19s, Glock 22s, Smith & Wesson 9mm shields, they should have compacts. That's what the purse should be for, concealed carry. You know, it should be next to the compact should probably be like a switchblade, a taser, like all kinds of gear she should have in there. Riot shield spray, like the more equipment she's got to keep herself safe, the bigger her purse should be. You know, her purse should not be full of makeup. Her purse should be full of defensive tools. But we don't teach our women that. But let the ones that are bold, alpha boss ladies, overly masculine women, I can protect myself. I ask y'all, because I don't say that y'all shouldn't. Y'all should be able to protect myself. I ask y'all, how do y'all feel about this woman being able to live a life of complete oblivion, no fear, no anxiety, with full knowledge that she's going to be all right in the worst situations possible? And her superhero is asking questions, how do I protect her? And guess what? The superhero is the boyfriend after the father's no longer in the picture. Most women don't have that. Most women wondering where they man at. So I commend you, bro, for wanting to be it. And this is a good conversation, because this is one of very few. All he wants to know is how to protect this girl better. He's not complaining about her behavior. He's not complaining about the relationship. Nobody's cheating on one another. All he wants to know is how to protect her better. So there are some good women in the world. They're very few, but the ones that are there typically take it. But there are some good ones that are mixed up into the field of bad ones. And in order for the good ones to stand out, since a person is identified and judged by the 5 people they keep closest to them, don't hang around negative female behavior if you're not a negative woman. He says, sounds like he has the problem. Yeah, he's the only one with the problem. This guy is the only person with the problem. But he 19 though. He need to learn how to man up, because men are supposed to protect and provide. So she has the right to be oblivious if he is the right man for her, because he is supposed to protect her. GPS her phone so that he knows where she's at. Make sure that she's okay by going to her job when she gets off. Carry her home. Change your schedule so that you can be available to bring her where she has to go, since she's not paying attention to her own safety. She almost got robbed going out at night one time, so don't let her go out at night by herself. Go out there with her. If she goes out with her friend, that's fine. Her and her friend can do whatever they want to do. But when she's going outside without her friend, you go outside with her to make sure that nothing happens to her. That way she never has to worry about helping the robber again. Because if the next time the robber comes back to rob her, if he didn't do it right the second time after he robbed her the first time and she gave him all the instructions to rob her appropriately, then he's fucking up worse than she's fucking up. But the boyfriend is fucking up by letting this girl go out there unprotected, because that's his duty as a man. They won't be together for long? No, I think they'll be together for a while. She's 21, 19, can't go to the bar. She's 21 with a job. What the fuck is she going to the bar for? And then it doesn't matter if she's 21 and he's 19. Once you end up in a relationship, what you going to the bar for as a single woman? You're in a relationship. So I would assume that between 19 and 21, these two would end up in college. And they'll have enough frat parties to break up the relationship. But you say stalker? No, not a stalker. It's called a repeat offender. It's a big difference. A stalker is somebody hiding in the bushes watching her pass by. Special shout out to AVMC. What's happening? We're doing questions and comments from the fans. We're covering a lot of relationship topics. We're covering a lot of self-improvement topics. So appropriately structured questions that are appropriate topics, then we'll be answering those, because I do have a lot of trolls that come up and ask inappropriate questions, and they try to structure it in an appropriate fashion, but it is still inappropriate. I'm not entertaining those. So we're doing questions and comments from the fans. Let's go ahead and touch base on the next one, though.
My ex-boyfriend keeps sending me love letters through my door. Hey everyone, this is my first time posting and I'm honestly a bit freaked out. My ex and I broke up a while ago and I've been no contact since, blocked him, haven't replied, nothing. But he keeps pushing these handwritten love letters through my door like he's tried to win me back, and it's happening way more than I'm comfortable with. The part that's really getting to me is I never actually see him. He always somehow manages to do it when I'm not looking. I'll come home and there's a letter, or I'll walk past my door and suddenly there's one there and I swear it wasn't earlier. It's making me feel watched, and I live alone, so it's not exactly helping my nerves. I don't want to respond because I don't want to encourage it, but I also don't know if ignoring it is the right move either. Should I be documenting this or telling him one last time to stop? At what point does this become something I need to report?
Hold on. So first, he's asking me not to identify him by the name he has up there, because he's got that Via Boo. I can call you Via because I'm not calling you Boo. And you got AVMC up there. You're asking me not to identify you as the AVMC up there. You might as well take that AVMC off, because you leave yourself open to be identified as AVMC. If you would prefer to have the first half of your name identified, you should take the second half of your name off. A lot of people like to troll podcasts by using inappropriate names as their call tag, so that when we identify them, we're saying something inappropriate. And I try my best to avoid that. So before I say something that it's almost like when Bart Simpson used to call Moe's Tavern and give a name that pronounced syllabically could end up being something inappropriate. I try to avoid that because I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing. So before I pronounced the first half, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with these abbreviations because that's safer. I noticed that it's Via Boo, which is almost like viable. So it's a little bit better, but I couldn't call you Boo. Nah, he's okay so far. He's okay, Michael. He's doing okay, because I'll be hitting that block button real fast up here. Now, Michael was saying, for this girl, there's your stalker. That's exactly right, Michael. That it's not really a stalker right now, but it is requirement for a restraining order. So here's the thing. Y'all broke up. Does not matter how much time it has been since y'all broke up. You blocked him on all social media. He's still coming to the house trying to make up. We understand that part, and that's fine. What needs to be done at this point? You give him a written notice, cease and desist, in the form of an order or a notice, a legal notice, explaining to him that you have no interest in further communication. You are demanding that he cease and desist his comments to you, and by doing that, you notify him that further communication will lead to legal action. After you have given him that written notice, that puts her in a legal position where if he continues to communicate with her after that she can get a restraining order, because she told him, from a legal standpoint, I do not want any more communication from you. And if that happens, then it will lead to a restraining order. And the restraining order is going to be complicated if you don't know where he lives, because you have to serve him the restraining order, and then y'all got to go to court, and there's going to be some issues about that. So there's going to be a problem with sometimes serving restraining orders, but you can report it to the police. Well, that's what I'm telling you, Michael. The court order is a problem, because in order to get a court order, you have to serve the accused. And if you don't know where the accused resides, then the only thing you can do is report it to the police, and then give the police his identity If you know the make and model of his vehicle, then you can report that to the police, and then they can pull him over in your neighborhood and then serve him a trespass from the property. And the police will get his address off of the police report, and then you get his address from the police report, take your written notice to stop and the police report trespass, and then put that together, serve him for his current address as identified on the police report to get the restraining order and restrain his contact. Now, you have to understand a restraining order only goes so far. It shows that he doesn't have the legal right to come to your house. It doesn't stop him from coming to your house. But when he comes to your house and you turn him into Swiss cheese, he's not supposed to be within, I would say, 1,000 feet of you. So if he's on your doorstep, then he should have a lot more holes than a cheese grater. And that is called self-defense, self-defense of the home, preemptive self-defense. Castle doctrine, stand your ground in most states. So you have every reason, especially if it's a forward motion situation, not through the back, you can guarantee that you're not going to spend much time locked up after you finish taking care of this situation. But he should know that legal action will occur. Any person that's not an official stalker just doesn't know how to stop, that ends up in a situation where they're doing too much and you start talking about utilizing legal action, that person is going to be in a situation where they're going to stop. They're going to understand that they're doing too much and they're going to stop. Vaya says, well, the woman should tell the man how she feels about the problems. And I perfectly agree with that. I think that women need to communicate, because sometimes when you break up, because women emotionally detach themselves from the relationship before she breaks up with the person. Then when she leaves, she just leaves. And the man does not have the ability to get closure. And that turns into a problem because he wants to fix the relationship, but she has already stopped wanting to be in the relationship for months before they broke up. So she has emotionally moved on before she physically moved on, and he's still going through the phases. And because he's late to the notification, because he was oblivious to her discontent due to the lack of communication in a relationship, that issue is going to lead him to try to fix the relationship when she's done, right? And then that issue is going to lead to a gap in communication. So not saying nothing, and all he's doing is sliding a note in the door saying, hey, look, I still love you. We can still work this out. Please give me a chance, blah, 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 blah. This behavior is not necessarily threatening, but not telling him, I don't want to work this out, just leave me alone, is preventing him from knowing it is done. But if you give him a legal notice that says, hey, if you keep communicating with me, I'm going to get the law involved, he should recognize that this relationship is done. He's still not going to get his closure, but he'll at least stop communicating. Via says, that is called the man is spying you. So if they are spying on you, then yeah, I agree. We cannot call a man a stalker just because he's doing what a man is supposed to do. And women are going to say, oh, no, a man's not supposed to stalk me. But sweetheart, you would be pissed off if y'all broke up on a misunderstanding and he didn't, quote unquote, fight for you. And fighting for you comes in a lot of different ways. You got the rom-com way where the guy is standing in your front yard with a mixtape, holding a boom box, keeping up the neighbors in the middle of the night. You've got the guy throwing rocks at your window to wake you up, your bedroom window to wake you up so that you can come to the window so that he can profess his love to you in the middle of the neighborhood, embarrassing himself. It's always a way where the man has to embarrass himself so that you get entertained by his embarrassment so that you can forgive him for whatever happened, whether or not it's his fault or not, right? And if he doesn't do this grandstand, y'all can't make up. So we can't call it stalking because he's not threatening to hurt you. He's not demanding that you come back to him or else. He's trying to fix something that broke after it broke because he was never told beforehand that it was breaking. And that's usually the man's job, because what woman has ever tried to make it up to the man unless she cheated? If the relationship fell apart and she wasn't cheating, she usually doesn't put any effort into trying to fix the relationship. Usually 99% of the time, all of the responsibility is on the man. So we can't really call the guy a stalker. So I agree with you, Vaya. He says she already did. That's why the letters under the door. What did the letters say? I don't know what the letters say. She broke up with him and she blocked him. Telling him to stop communicating with her is not the same as I broke up with you and I blocked you. Completely different situation. My neighbors would spy on me and my family with cameras. Well, you know, when you're living in a gated community, or when you're living in a community where your house is next door to your neighbor's house, like right next door, and they put surveillance cameras to protect their yard, your house is on their surveillance camera. They put a video camera to cover the alleyway between your house and their house, your house is on their camera. Um, and if your windows are on their camera, what's going on in those windows are on their camera, because I don't know what's going on with Americans, but y'all leave y'all windows open and y'all be walking past the windows naked, and y'all be mad at the neighbors wondering why, ooh, they watching me. But let's be real. I want them to have a camera pointed at my house covering every angle I don't have on camera. So if somebody break into my house, I can subpoena the records from the door, the camera system next door. They broke in from 13 different angles because I had 4 neighbors with 8 cameras and all of us got it. Right? I'm not a big fan of having Big Brother watch me watch adult videos while I'm in my house. But at the same time, I also would prefer Big Brother to be watching my house while I'm in Cancun, so that don't nobody knock off my whole house and take everything before I come back. So it's a catch 22. You say thank God they're gone? No, that's wrong. They're rude. No, well, okay. So from your perspective, because they put cameras on the outside of their house, you're gonna feel like they're rude because you feel like your privacy is being invaded. Your privacy is only being invaded because you leave your blinds open. If you close your blinds, put you some drapes over the windows and keep your windows closed, they're keeping an eye on what's going on outside your house. Let somebody spray paint the side of your house, they would have had it on camera. You're saying that that's rude, but you would have had the police officer go to their house and get the person who spray painted fuck you asshole on the side of your house. And they would have had them on camera, face and all, because the person who spray painted your house is not paying attention to the house next door, looking at the video cameras that got them committing a crime. When the girlfriend comes over and takes a baseball bat to your car because she's mad at you, you don't got video camera, but she's not paying attention to the 5 houses across the street that's got her on camera pulling the baseball bat out of her car, coming to your car, tearing up your car. But those people's video cameras pointing at your house is the evidence that incriminates her for destroying your car. Now, if you would have had a Hellcat with a scat pack on it, almost $70,000 car, and she would have fucked your car up, you would have wished that somebody would have had that on video so that you could get your restitution. Because she just totaled your car. He said, more cameras pointed at you and me than out of space. Well, yeah, because what the hell happening in outer space? Ain't shit happening in outer space. Big meteor shower that came overhead, but the government's getting shut down again. What's more important, the meteor overhead, or a lot of people are going to be unemployed for another month? He said, I'm sorry, but that is false. They called the police before, and my mom, when she is a vet, even worse, they were rude to my mom. Okay, so them being assholes got nothing to do with the cameras pointed at the house. I'm gonna be honest with you. Separate the difference between the two. The cameras are security. And yes, if they're pointing the cameras at your house because they're using those cameras to show that you're doing something that pisses them off, if you're not doing anything wrong, those cameras will benefit you. If you're doing something wrong, the cameras won't benefit you. Them being an asshole, they can have a house with no cameras and still be an asshole. There's a terminology called Karen behavior that comes from unnecessary asshole behavior. Overly stepping in and enforcing rules that you personally believe that other people should abide by that are not socially enforced. So I like to mind my own business, and I know you do too, and you would prefer for your neighbors to mind their own damn business, and I completely respect that. But them having a camera pointed at your house only keeps your house from being fucked over. Yeah, exactly. You don't do nothing to them. So yeah, so let them have I want them to have 24/7 surveillance on my house. I want them to have 24/7, a vet or a veterinarian. It don't matter. It don't matter. Both of them start with VET. It don't matter if she's saving human lives or dog butts. What matters is that she's retired and, and he don't want his mama to be going through no drama. And I don't blame him. But since they moved away, you just know you're going to be good from now on. But see me, I got to have me some Fort Knox security system. So I see myself with a specific room dedicated to cameras all over the property. He's a vet and animal that she does surgery. Are they white? Mike, that's inappropriate, but you already know they are because black folks can't afford surveillance cameras. Upper middle class black folks afford surveillance cameras. The average person that makes $50,000 a year don't know what's don't know what surveillance cameras are. We like surveillance, not in my neighborhood. We 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 come from the code of the streets. We talking about some snitches get stitches. So who got surveillance cameras with snitches get stitches? Why would I have a surveillance camera so that the police can come over there and ask me for my video footage? That's gonna call me the neighborhood snitch. If you talking about black folks, no, that's you already know they not black because they got surveillance cameras. People that is overly involved in their neighbor's yard is not black folks because black folks are trying not to get caught. Well, do you think they in somebody else's? It's like, look, if you're doing wrong and I'm doing wrong, let's cover for each other. But white people gonna say you can't paint your side of the fence a different color than my side of the fence because it might make my property look bad from your side of the fence. That's the kind of stuff that you gonna get in them HOA neighborhoods. You're not gonna get that in a Section 8 neighborhood, my guy. The only cameras you got in the Section 8 neighborhood is on the back of a car that says call 911. That's the only. Let's go ahead and touch base with the next one. We got
How to break up with my boyfriend. Okay, so me and my boyfriend are moving out of our rental in a couple weeks and I want to leave him for a few different reasons. He kind of acts like he can't do anything unless I do it. I've done so much for him and he can't really reciprocate a bit of effort. We argue all the time over these small miscommunications that he often starts. Anyways, I am wondering, do I wait until we have moved to make the process easy, or do I just come clean now and have it be an awkward 3 weeks, but at least I won't feel like I'm lying?
Okay, so you done with the relationship. And that's an asshole move to be done with the relationship and you ain't saying nothing about it. When you decided you were done with the relationship, why do you got to wait for the lease to end to pack up all your shit? Y'all packing anyway and move out. So instead of you waiting the 3 weeks, why don't you pack up all your stuff and get the fuck out of his house today? And then let him spend the next 3 weeks moving to wherever the hell he was going to move to. Because one of the problems that's going to happen is he think y'all together, y'all lease is ending, which could lead to a month-to-month. You don't have to definitely move out of the place, but if you're not renewing the lease, you're going to be moving somewhere else. And your income is going to be incorporated into his income with acquiring the new residence. So if you wait until the day he's ready to move, then you're going to be putting him in a compromising position because he's going to be getting another apartment with the lease. Then you're not going to want to be on the new lease. You're going to want to break up with him. And guess what's going to happen with that? If you help him get another apartment because you don't want him to be outdoors, you're going to end up moving in with him and you're going to be in a relationship with a person you don't want to be in a relationship with, which also means that you're going to be resentful and y'all still going to be fighting. But guess what? You got to jump off the new lease. So why not just end this right now? Via says, what is crazy more, they had a fake gravestone that said my mom's name on it behind the bush in their front yard. Well, I mean, I can't even comment on that. Cause who the hell gonna waste money on a gravestone? That ain't even that ain't even beneficial. What kind of threatening is that gonna pull off? I don't know. He's in Sereno. I'm getting screwed. And Michael, you said, oh, mama's boy dump him. What does her not being satisfied with the relationship and not appropriately communicating that with her boyfriend got to do with him being a mama's boy? If she's not satisfied and she's not communicating, it ain't because he's a mama's boy. It's because she's not communicating. And if she don't want to be in that relationship, it doesn't matter whether or not he's a mama's boy or not. She's not communicating that either, because she made up her mind when she wrote this post, and she still ain't told him. So she's just deciding when to tell him. That's worse than getting pregnant and deciding when you're going to tell your baby daddy that you're pregnant. A week, 3 weeks, couple months that you pregnant before you break the news, because I don't know how he's going to take this. Who gives a fuck how he's going to take this? This impacts him. As soon as you find out, he's supposed to find out. You shouldn't let 5 breaths pass you by from the time you found out his life has changed forever till you tell him that his life has changed forever. So the fact that you've marinated on this topic for a few days or a couple of weeks, you are a bad person because you are withholding evidence from your partner, whether it is out of spite or personal anxiety. And you need to get that shit off the table. Because, ladies, let's flip the script. What if he got a baby for another woman? He just found out. How soon should he tell you that there's a child that ain't yours in his life? How you doing, Claudia? Good to see you, girl. Good to see you, girl. Look, we got a woman in here. She can answer that question. Michael said, they'll move out in the middle of the night. I would have moved out in the middle of the night. I wouldn't have told him shit. I'd have just left. I would have fell off on the middle of, I would have fell out. He'd have been at work. I'd have packed up all my shit and I'd have been gone, bro. By the time he came back, matter of fact, when I broke up with this one female, she decided that she was going to be an asshole and she was going to go out of town and do some shit with her family. Okay, cool. I packed up all of her shit and she was gone for like 2 or 3 weeks. I had packed up all her shit within the first 24 hours. And when she came back, nothing was in the house. Nothing was in the house. And the locks was changed. She couldn't even get back into the house. She wanted to call the police talking about some, oh, I got rights. I showed the police officers, look, these are the photos of the address. There's nothing in there that belongs to a woman. So if the police officer can find something in these photos that belong to a woman, then I'll let her back into the house. And the cop's like, nope, house is almost empty. I said, all right, so she ain't got no reason to go into the house. She break into the house, you put her in jail. And she did not go into that house. I didn't let her in and she didn't break in. Even after the police left, she didn't break in. He said, well, if I was in that situation, I would tell him to get up or they're gone. Right. Best thing is not my problem. But see, even in that situation, bro, it is. You said, what is the question? Okay, so Claudia, so the girl is tired of her boyfriend. Their lease is almost up. They got 3 weeks before the lease is up. She's thinking about breaking up with him, and she don't know when to tell him. She's not sure if she should tell him now and have the awkward 3-week wait, or if she should tell him the day that they move so that the separation isn't so difficult. And my thought is that if he's moving with her in mind, and even though they don't have proper communication, his plans are to get us a location that's sustainable for the both of them. And then she's talking about going off on her own solo, Miss Independent kind of situation. And I'm saying in this dynamic is that the moment you found out that you didn't want to be with this dude, that's the moment you tell him that you don't want to be with this dude. There's no reason why you should wait 3 weeks to tell him you don't want to be with him. You should go ahead and just let him know right now that you don't want to be with him so that he can start making a plan to move by himself. Exactly. She needs to tell him now. Oh, Via, you said you're a woman. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, well, we got more women on the show. All right. Look now. We're going to almost have 50% of the show with women by the time we get to 2027. We only got 40% women on the show right now, so I appreciate you coming in. These questions have been asked since the beginning of society. Yeah, but they don't change. They don't change. You know, I'm just going, nah, you good. I'm good. I did not know. Because, see, here's the thing. One, I can't even tell what the profile photo is from here. I got glasses on. They prescription. I'm not wearing these to look cool. I'm not sure if that's a ninja or a person. I don't know if that's a Picasso in the background. I don't know what's going on. I can't tell if that's a person. So I see Claudia's face. See, look at your profile right here. So you see your profile right there, and then see Claudia's profile right there. I can see Claudia. I can see she got a nice smile on her face and everything. So I know that that's a she. She could have said Bruce, and I would have been like, ma'am, because that's a female right there in the photo. I can't tell. Mike, you got better glasses than I do. Yeah, but my prescription 2 years old too, so I can't tell. I can't tell. And because I can't tell, I'm guessing. And since there's 67% of this podcast is men, I'm going to assume sir before ma'am. That's what I'm trying to get at. And 67% is over the age of 25 to 30. So I'm actually thinking middle-aged man, if anything, until you identify. So, ma'am, now that I know that you're a female, because it's you in cardinal rules, all she's got is a bird up there. That doesn't help me determine anything. It's just a bird up there. It's a cardinal. So she's a Cardinals fan. I know what team she plays for, but I had to find out because she told me that she was a she. Because like the only two women on the show right now that shows their face clearly is Claudia and Nicole. Special shout out to Detroit, Michigan. He said, in my days, we had Wonder Woman. Today, you're wondering if it's a woman. You know what I got a problem with, Michael? I got a problem with this. And I want, since we got a lot of women on the show right now, I want the women to explain this. Because Barbie, and I know most women had a Barbie doll. Barbie was a rich, successful woman that took care of Ken, who had no job. He showed up with his underwear and a surfboard, because y'all remember the original Barbie just had the swim trunks and the surfboard. We didn't get G.I. Joe Ken until like way down the line. We had Barbie with Barbie's house and Barbie's car. Ken could drive Barbie's car. Ken could live in Barbie's house. And this is the original Barbie. This is the white Barbie and the white Ken. Now, here's the question. This is the question. Why did that doll lead to society still saying zero tolerance to unemployed men, where a woman becomes a successful Fortune 500 woman? She's got her own career. She's got her own job. And she dates a man that doesn't have as much as her. What's up with that? I wonder where the disconnect happened there. I was just trying to figure that part out, because we got guys, we got G.I. Joes, we got guys, we got wrestling toys, and we become second generation pro wrestlers. We got guys that the action figures, and we're doing action stuff and stuff to that effect. But baby dolls, mothers, Barbie dolls, successful wives to husbands that don't have good jobs, and we don't have a society that supports successful women taking care of less successful men. How did that happen? Does any woman know? He said, it's the internet. She is probably 48. Tighten up, Michael. She says she's a she. We're going to respect that. You say you gone? Hey, well, Via, if you don't stay, you don't stay. I don't have a problem with you whether you stay or not. We just explained the dynamic of why we were doing what we were doing. He said nothing wrong with that. I don't got a problem with it neither, because when it comes down to whether there's a she, a he, a they, an it, or whatever, my dynamic is that in order for you to be a successful, valued individual, is that you have to benefit yourself to the umpteenth degree, but you also have to benefit the partner that you're getting with. So it doesn't matter which gender you claim to have. What matters is that the partner that accepts you, you have to benefit them the way they benefit you. And if you're not benefiting them, then you are the only one benefiting. And that means that you are a liability to the relationship. So if you want to be valuable in your relationship, you have to find out what the needs are of your partner and prioritize those needs. And in some situations, you should be able to prioritize the wants of your partner to a realistic degree. But if you don't have that motivation to prioritize your partner, you will be prioritized by a partner that loves and cares for you, but you will not prioritize that partner, which is a one-sided relationship, which leads to a lot of the discontent and resentment that leads to the discussions that we have on this show, which is why there's so many breakups where the average relationship lasts 1 year, 5 months, and 6 days, because the first 3 months nobody's paying attention. The next 6 months everybody's fighting. The next 3 months everybody then gave up. That's the first year. And then that last 6 months, if it don't work, if I find something better, or this starts to become too chaotic, we break up. You don't make it to a year and a half. You're 1 day shy of a year and a half, or well, 3 weeks and a day shy of a year and a half, because we get in it too fast. We're not paying attention starting out. We don't have our standards met starting out, because we're chasing the wrong stuff going in. Then we try to change stuff. We would get a lot of resistance because we spent 3 months not paying attention. Why change now? Then some stuff changed, some stuff doesn't. We have a lot more resistance. We get fed up. We shut down. One shuts down, the other shuts down. Then once both shuts down, then we're fighting all the time. And that's when we're in a position of, why don't we break up? Because we fight more than we get along. Either you better help your girlfriend and communication. That's what I tell them on a regular basis. They need to communicate. They need to communicate. They need to improve their communication. Because most of the guys, we got a lot of stuff coming up over the next week, but most of the information about helping men with communication requires them to first recognize what they need and be able to articulate that clearly. Because men are going to ask women what she wants and what she needs. Women do not ask a man what he wants or what he needs. Most women over the age of 30 don't give a shit what a man wants or what a man needs. She wants what she wants. She knows what she wants, and she believes that he should accept her because she already knows what she wants. That makes it easier for him to satisfy her because she knows what she wants. But where in that logic does she prioritize him? If she's getting what she wants in this dynamic, when does he get what he wants? Then we look at those women that are 35, 37 years old, and they're disappointed because they're hard to find a man. Why doesn't a man want her? Because she's 38, 40, 42, she's single. Because 65% of the men want a mother. You don't want to have kids, or you're no longer capable of having kids after you've passed menopause. You don't qualify for 68% of men that want to be a father. Whether they have children and they want more, or they don't have children and they want to start. If you don't want to start raising kids, if you don't want to give birth to his kid or surrogate his kid through somebody else, then you're not a candidate for 68% of men. That is 2025 statistics. And we're not that far into 2026 to say that those statistics are outdated. That was like Q4 2025 statistics. So remember to like and subscribe. He said, I would say communication is more important in a relationship, followed by the lack of money. What's your thoughts? Actually, money problems is going to be the number one issue with relationships, but the lack of communication is going to come from the lack of discussion about money, which I agree with you. Communication would be the fundamental beginning, because if they communicated about their what they have to pay versus what they have to pay it with, then y'all could formulate a joint budget, which is why I give you guys relationship advice about budgeting for like a joint bank account versus your separate. What's your frowny face for, Claudia? Tell me what your frowny face is. Because you did it all the way backwards. I'm like, oh, she was extra sad. She used the second half of the smiling face. She turned her smile upside down real quick. But no, yeah, I agree with you. The communication is going to be highly important. But see, I had to talk to you guys about when to communicate in a relationship about money. But within the first month and a half, y'all supposed to be talking about money. Not about how much he's going to pay for you, but what are y'all plans are for y'all's relationship and who's going to contribute. And before y'all start moving in together, y'all are supposed to be considering what expenses has to be pulled together for y'all to live in the same house. Then when you start living in the same house, if you start intertwining your debt with one another, which you probably shouldn't do until after you get married, but if you're going to start intertwining your debt with one another by getting joint credit cards with one another to build up your financial lives together, that can happen to a degree. Because even as an authorized user on their account, all you got to do is write a letter to the credit agency and request that you are removed off of that line of credit because you no longer affiliate with the primary account holder. And they should be able to work something out removing you from the line of credit because you don't affiliate with the account holder. It is going to require the account holder to do it. You lonely? What you lonely about? Because we sitting over here talking about how people not doing right in their relationships. But if we had that, yeah, good answer, Claudia. What's your thoughts? But when you have the lack of communication in relationships, the lack of communication, whether it's the lack of communication about money or the lack of communication about how to raise your children or a lack of communication about your whereabouts or the lack of communication about validation of each other, yeah, the lack of communication is huge in relationships. But it is not the number one cause of breakups. The number one cause of breakups is money. So if you had more money to go around, you would have less fights about money. If you have more resources in the house, you have less fights about money or resources related to money. But then after you take the money out of the dynamic, out of the issue, you're still going to have a lapse of communication. You're not satisfied. Like the last woman, she claimed that she was frustrated because her boyfriend didn't help her out as much as she would want. Her love language is acts of servitude. So him doing stuff to help her, even though she's capable of doing it herself, would have aided her in feeling loved, right? She doesn't know that. She doesn't even know her own love language. She can't articulate that. He doesn't know what's going on. She's probably a stay-at-home girlfriend, and she's bitching about him not helping her with stuff around the house when all she has to do is the stuff around the house. But it would make her feel validated if he came home and helped her fold the clothes, because she's deliberately folding the clothes when he comes in from work so that she can do it with him. She's deliberately leaving this task undone and starts doing the task when he's there so that he can do it with her. But what she's not doing is asking him to do something with her. See the problem? But if the shoe was on the other foot and the man wanted his wife to spend some time with him while he's out in the garage working on the car, the man would be like, babe, hey, hand me that socket wrench over there. And now she's standing over there handing him the socket wrench. Go get me that torque wrench from over there. And now she's bringing him the torque wrench. Hand me the screwdriver. And I said, hold the belt from the top end, and I'm gonna get it from the bottom end, and we're gonna try to get it. He gonna bring her over there and get her involved. Why you got me out here helping you fix the car? He's gonna say to help the car run. But really, he wanted to spend time with her doing something that he likes to do, which is work on the car. All it took is some communication. Let's go ahead and touch base with the next one.
I blew it with my wife. I can't help but feel like I blew it with my wife. We were together for 14 years prior to getting married. We had our ups and downs early in our relationship, but nothing significant to linger on, basic teenage drama. We were only married 2 years ago just due to the circumstances of life. To both of us, we have been married since we started to live together in 2013, but we officially tied the knot when we could finally justify a micro-wedding with our closest family and friends. She never wanted anything big, but I always knew I wanted to give her more than just a courthouse visit. Here we are 2 years later, just moved into a new house, still very much in love, and I worship my wife in every way possible, which I'm more than happy to do, and her the same for me. Now where I blew it. I recently came across a video in her phone from 2015 of her dancing and singing drunk, happy, absolutely glowing, and I could not believe how beautiful she was. I would not say that I am a bad-looking guy, but, in my eyes, my wife has always been out of my league, but I knew I made up for it with personality and charisma. We were best friends before we even got together and were truly meant for each other. With that being said, I see how I worship her today, and I know that I did not feel the same way back then when she was drop-dead gorgeous. Today she is still beautiful as ever to me, but it's almost like I didn't realize just how beautiful she was back then. I know any man would have been more than happy to take my place, and I didn't even realize it at the time. I feel like I should have done more to keep her happy and toted on her every need any chance I got. I should have been happy to just be with her, let alone the fact that she loved me so much. Now I can't help but think that I wasted her time when she deserved more, a beautiful young woman with an even more beautiful soul. I compare how I treat her today to back then, and I wish I did more, but I don't know if this is just due to being more mature in early 30s instead of our early 20s. I am actually struggling with my feelings of letting her down for those years when I should have been worshipping the ground she walked on. I brought this up to her and she says she doesn't remember being unhappy and she would have addressed it if she did, which is very true to her nature and our relationship, but I am in my own head about this now and starting to spiral. I wish I treated her better. I don't deserve her. Update: I have no intention of bringing this up to my wife again. I plan to stay focused on her now and to keep giving her the best I can. I chose her, she chose me.
Look, there we go, Michael. See, this is the kind of shit that be breaking our relationship. So, first off, she's still cute now, but she's not as hot as she was, and that's just what happens when people get old. It's just that women don't care how ugly men get. When men get old, we can look like Quasimodo, but if we got money like Flavor Flav, you still gonna talk to us. But yeah, you hear this bullshit. This dude is sitting over here complaining because he didn't put enough effort into her when he was in his 20s. He's in his 30s. Bro, tighten up. Like, she's still here and she's not bitching. So you realize you didn't do enough back in the day. Step it up and put more effort into showing her how important she is. All you got to do is, and it's, we just covered this on the show a couple days ago. Love letters, words of affirmation, notes. You can leave them all over the house. If she's a really good cleaner, you can make it a project and you can hide them in places that you notice she hasn't cleaned in a while and hide them. So when she go and find them, it's like a love grenade. She's going to be able to go and find that thing behind the washing machine that you left that note back there. You're going to write her a love letter and put it in a Ziploc bag and put that in the back of the toilet. So when she goes to clean the toilet, that she finds this and she finds this letter. Like, you get creative about it. You get creative about it. You know, you don't want to put nothing in the oven and then she's going to crank up the oven and burn it. You don't want to do that. But you want to put it in places where, like, she can see it. You know what I mean? Tape something to the front of the dishwasher and stuff like that. Like, you know, really show her how important she is now. Because if y'all have been together for what you said, 14 plus the 2 years of marriage is 16 years. Y'all have been together for 16 years. Either you did too much in the beginning and then you trickled downward, or you didn't do enough in the beginning and now you're going to start cranking it up a little bit. It happens. But now that you realize that you could have done more, now it is time for you to do a little bit more. But I completely agree with Michael, bro. I don't give a damn if you're a man or a woman. Stay off your partner's phone. You got your own damn phone for a reason. There is no reason why you need to be looking at your partner's phone. If they don't tell you to use their phone to call or text somebody, do not use their phone. And if they tell you to call somebody, the specific person they told you to call, that's the only contact you're touching. You're not reading all of his text messages. Who is she from 6 months ago? None of your damn business. I didn't tell you to go through my history. I told you to call so-and-so. I told you to text so-and-so. But odds are, if I'm going to allow you as my partner to text and call so-and-so, that person's name and number should be in your phone. So what the hell are you doing in mine? Ain't no reason for it. I should not be in your phone and you should not be in my phone. And this is going to be a big issue, because what you find, this is just like any legal case. What you find in their phone without their authorization, you acquired it without a warrant. So it is not admissible for any case of infidelity, deception, or any type of mistreatment. So in the court of family, not the court of law, in the court of family, if he cheating and you find it on his phone because you went snooping, baby girl, you need to treat that as inadmissible to the breakup. Because it is not, if you would not have found it, you wouldn't have been breaking up. So since you went looking for problems, you need to suppress that like an ulcer, because you wasn't supposed to know about it, because you wasn't supposed to be looking. And the reason why I say that is that if you reach the point where you lose trust in your partner, break up with them before you go through the phone. And the reason why I tell you that is because once you go through the phone and you find something incriminating, you're going to use that as an excuse to break up anyway, but you wanted to break up with that person. That's why you're looking for a reason to break up with that person. So you are going to validate the breakup by saying, see, he cheated, or see, she was unfaithful. But there's no reason why you are going through your partner's phone. It causes a rift. And the person's phone that was gone through is going to feel violated. They're going to lose trust and confidence in you. So even if you don't find anything, when your partner finds out that you went through their phone, they no longer trust you. The relationship is still going to be over. So do not go through your partner's phone. I don't care if your partner leaves the phone unlocked. I don't care if y'all share the same phone. You do not go through the history of that phone. If it ain't yours, you don't go through the history of that phone. And love letters from boyfriends, I would read them. Prior relationships don't bother me. But that's the thing. You got females these days right now that will go through a man's phone and then interrogate him about how he used to talk to women 2 years ago, just because the communication is still in his history. Sweetheart, once that woman is gone, that is active data space in his phone. That is it. That is what it is. It is data space. It has no emotional relevance to him. Most men do not scroll through the history of their phone and read text messages from women from 5 years ago. If he's in a relationship with you, he's not reviewing the communication from his exes from 5 years ago, unless you're treating them like shit. So he don't even know them text messages are in there still. And most men do not go through their phone and delete all of the contacts and delete all of the text messages from all of his exes. Most people right now, if you go through your phone right now, you'll find that you have 2,000 to 10,000 contacts in your phone. Unless it's a brand new phone that was recently replaced because your last phone was lost or stolen and you didn't back up all the data. If you have your phone from previous upgrades and all of the data has been backed up from the first time you got a phone, you got 2 to 20 or more thousand contacts, and you can't even remember how many of them were exes or hookups, or if they were business or personal or school or whatever. You can identify the family members, but that's all you can identify. Maybe a couple of friends, but you can't identify every single one of the 10, 20, 30,000 contacts that you have onto your phone. But a woman will go through that phone and she will find out. And then it's going to be weak-minded people. They're going to find out, and then they're going to come and interrogate you, and then they're going to treat you like garbage because they're insecure about their ability to stack up to the last person. Do you realize the last person did not hold up to par? That's why the last person ain't here. You're here. So why are you comparing yourself to someone that got disqualified? If you are here, your priority is to stay here. What champion is insecure about the last title belt holder? They might be insecure about the number one contender, but what champion is insecure about 3 champions ago? I'm the champion right now. I am the best there is right now. Don't give a fuck about who was here 10 years ago. I am the best there is right now. And if you maintain that mentality in your relationship, it doesn't matter how many exes you got. You should not be paying attention to your exes. You should be paying attention to your current. And I should not be paying attention to your exes. I should be paying attention to being your current. Now, women are going to say, oh, well, then why do y'all care about body count? Because body count identifies trauma. Every time you give yourself to another man, you formulate a bond. Then you break that bond. And every time you break that bond, you damage yourself. And the more often you break that bond, the less you value those bonds. And the less you value those bonds, the less you commit to the relationships. The more you value those, the less you value those bonds, the less security you have in those bonds being long-term. So you have 2,000 body counts. I am no longer a priority. I am a statistic. You're going to make decisions on how you treat me based on how you treated the other 2,000 men. You're not going to value my input on how I want to be treated. You're going to make me a sandwich because that's how you made 350 other men's sandwiches. You're not going to make me a sandwich because that's what I want on the sandwich. If based on your experience with other men that most men like that sandwich, I should like that sandwich too. That's where your logic is going to come from. Not my man told me he likes that sandwich. When you perform acts of service for your man, it's going to be based on what other men have taught you they wanted. And based on what the majority of men you've been with wanted, you will do what you think a man should get based on your experience with other men, not your current man. And then if I tell you that I'm not happy with that because unlike other men, that's not what I want, you're going to feel unappreciated and undervalued. The problem with that is that every man, no matter how many women he has, does the exact same thing with every woman. What do you like? What do you want? What do you need? What can I do for you? How can I help? And these are the 5 questions women never ask the current man. What the women tell the current man is, you should appreciate the fact that I tried. You should appreciate the fact that I did what I did, whatever it was, even if it wasn't what you needed done. And that is an issue. He said, and they will use it against you. They will definitely use it. They will take everything and they'll use it against you. The weakest links. And this is going to be another issue. If you got 2,000 body counts and you still ain't got a husband, what's the failure there? Because it ain't 2,000 dudes. Either you make me a sandwich because you want to. No, sir. You make me a sandwich because I'm fucking hungry. That's why you make me a sandwich. You don't make me a sandwich because you want to. You make me a sandwich because I'm hungry. And women are going to say that's misogynistic. But wait, hold on. Let's flip the script. If I am hungry and I am going to feed you because I know you are hungry, I am cooking for you because I know you are hungry, not because you told me to feed you, because I know that you are hungry and I don't want you to be hungry. Now, from the perspective of a man that's going to feed his woman so that she is not hungry, a woman who values her man will feed her man because she doesn't want him to be hungry. And she should feed him the things that she knows he likes to eat. Now, how do you know what he likes to eat if you never ask him what he likes to eat? There's only 2 ways. One way is statistical analysis. Again, I'm a statistic. The other way is watch what I ask for or listen to what I tell you to get. And the same thing that I done said 5 or 7 times is what you're going to start doing repetitively, which means I'm going to tell you what I want to eat and you're going to make that. The things that I tell you to make the most, that's what you're going to do more often than not. You see what I order when I leave the house, that's the stuff that you're going to pay attention to. If you can replicate that at the house, it saves us some money, but you're getting me what you've seen me get for myself. You're going to get for me what you've seen me make for myself. And you're going to make for me what I tell you to make for me. So you're paying attention to what I say, which is different because women don't pay attention to what men say. Men pay attention to what women say. What's your favorite meal? You like Chick-fil-A? Every time I pass a Chick-fil-A, I'm going to get you something to eat. But let me tell you that I want you to cook. Oh, that's misogynistic. But what if what the man wanted was a home cooked meal that he ain't had in so many years because he ain't been in a relationship and he too busy to cook for himself? What if that's what he really wanted was a home cooked meal? But you tell him that your favorite dessert is some type of cake, that son bitch will burn the kitchen down trying to make your favorite cake from your 5th grade birthday party. The last time your great grandma was still alive, he'll be trying his damnedest to replicate that to make you happy. Women don't understand the links that a man will go through for a woman to make a woman feel valuable. But let me ask you, what links are you going through outside the bedroom to do the same? This is where women start logging off of the show. I'm pointing out the obvious. He said, honey catches more bees, can cut the crush off. Can you cut the crush off? Oh, you talk about cutting the crust off of the sandwich? Yeah, I hate the crust. I hate the crust, but guess what? Most men hate the crust. So do you think a woman is going to make a man a sandwich and cut the crust off because he asked her to? Or is she going to cut the crust off because she knows most men don't like the crust? See the problem there? Not, I'm a statistic. I'm not being treated like her exclusive, unique, rare man. I am treated like a statistic. Because most men don't like the crust, she's gonna cut the crust off. So I don't have to say don't have the crust on a sandwich. She's just gonna do it because she knows most men don't like it. Can't you tell her what you like? Most men are not allowed to tell women anything because a lot of women shame men for talking. That's why men have this in our society. Masculine men are more often than not shamed for voicing their opinions. The feminist mindset suppresses a man's opinions and a man's values and a man's emotions. So men are not supposed to cry. They're taught that as boys, whether they're in a household with their fathers or they're in a household with a single mother. They're not allowed to cry. They're not allowed to express themselves. They're not allowed to talk about their feelings or what's bothering them. The only behavior that is acceptable outside of happiness is rage, because anything around suppression, sadness or depression is considered weak, and men are not supposed to express weakness. They're not supposed to express vulnerability. This is from society, not just women, men too, that teach the boys to grow up to be the same shell of a man that are 40-year-old, 50-year-old men, 70, 80-year-old men grew up in the same dynamic where they were not allowed to express emotion. They're not allowed to express feeling. Women want a man to be vulnerable, and then when a man starts opening up and telling her what he likes and what he doesn't like, that's when the women start shutting them down. Well, but see, that's the thing. You're going to say, well, a man is a weak-minded man when a man has an opinion. A lot of women are going to shut down a man and say that a man isn't valuable because a man has an opinion. But the fact is that if a man talks about if most of the women on the show right now today, if you ask yourself how many relationships that you were in where you did what your man told you to and didn't question him, then ask those exact same women how many relationships that you were in that you asked your man what did he value, what made him happy, what could you do for him to help him, satisfy him, please him, what all does he like and what all does he need? How many times have you done that in your relationship? Most women are going to say never. They don't ask. They don't have to ask because the men tell them what they want to do. So a lot of times a woman will say that the first 5 men that I dated or the first 10 men I dated, I was listening back then. But after a certain period of time, I stopped listening. That's what's going to happen. Yes, men live life in silent desperation. It is self-preservation, but you end up with the type of men that women don't like. And that's the issue. Women build the men that they don't like the same way men build the women that they don't like. The reason why you can't find wife material is because you're treating all the young women like hoes. So each one that grows up, the lifestyle of a hoe is not going to be wife material. Now you can't find a good wife. The good wives do still exist because they weren't out in the street acting like hoes, but you can't find those women because those women are not in the street. You out in the street looking for a wife. The wife is at the house and at work. So in order for you to find a good woman, you're probably going to meet her while she's at work. A woman not worth your time, you're probably going to meet her running the streets with her homegirls. Single mom, great woman. She prioritizes her family. She works all the time. Problem with that is she ain't got time for you. Great family-oriented material, but she forgot to leave room for another man to step in. That's it. That's the only problem there. And then women wonder why men are not dating single women, because single mothers forget to leave an opening for a man to take over. If she's not using him for a paycheck, she forgets to leave room for a man to step in. But you don't want to be alone. So it's a double standard. There's a lot of double standards there. If a man allows a woman to put him down, it's still a weak mind. Hey, I can't argue with that, bro. But with that logic, in order for men to stop allowing themselves to be put down by a woman, he has to have non-negotiable expectations and zero tolerance towards negative behavior, which means now he is telling the women that he talks to now that he will not put up with that negative behavior. He will remove himself instantaneously from a relationship, no matter how much time existed in that relationship, if negative behavior starts. And especially if it started, if it continues, he will stop the relationship no matter how much he's invested in a relationship. So she's on academic probation because her negative behavior is strike two. You don't get a strike one. It's strike two. The next time you do this, you're gone. Women are going to say, oh, that's misogynistic. He's damaged. No. Most people are damaged by the age of 40. Most people, men and women alike, are damaged by the age of 40. Somewhere along their life, they done been through something, whether it was in their childhood, their young adulthood, or between 20 and 40. Something happened to them at least once, if not 5 or 7 times, where your negative behavior, your resistive behavior, your defensive behavior towards the opposite sex has you on a path where you will grow up, well, not grow up, but you will live the rest of your adult life alone, with the best connection you have is a jump off with a stranger, because you have not changed from shelling off yourself from partnership. Men build nests. Men build better nests than women. And that's not a sexist perspective, because women do not build anything to hold a family in. Women nurture what was built. Any woman that objects to that, show me when you built a house, a career, and availability for a husband and children. Because most women don't. Most women focus on their own career for themselves. They minimize their ability to have stuff that they can't afford to get with their money, and they focus on themselves. They're not focused on a family. Men get a big enough house for himself, his wife, and some kids. Men get a job that pays enough money to cover for a girlfriend that leads to a wife, and hopefully have some kids. He's building a generation, a legacy. Women build their fun time. Now, she will nurture what he built, but women do not build nests. They nurture the nest. And I would love for a woman to come up and show me different. I would love to hear, because I've asked a lot of women, when have you found a man that was down and out, you got with him, you built him up, and when you left, he was better than when you met him? Most women will say he's either the same as he was when she met him, or he's worse, which means you did not add value to his life. So you got into this relationship, you benefited from this relationship, you added no value to his life at his financial expense, and you left where he is the same or worse off than when he met you, but you benefited from that relationship for however many months or years you were in that relationship. That made you a liability for the quantity of time you were in that relationship. But ask me, how many relationships were you in where the man did absolutely nothing for you and you rode that wave regardless? Most women will say, never, not I. I will never be in that position. So a man will never be in a relationship with you and not bring value to you. So why are you in a relationship with a man not bringing value to the man? That's the overall question. It's called uniformity. And it ain't about sleeping with him in the bedroom and stuff like that. It ain't about barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. If he can help you fix your credit score and buy you a car and help you get enough money to buy your own apartment, if he's going to pay for your standard of living for you to go to college so that when you get out of college, you can get that better job, what are you doing to build him up? You leave the relationship with a brand new phone. You leave the relationship with brand new clothes. You leave the relationship with a car. You leave the relationship with a house. You leave the marriage with the car, the house, the children, the alimony, child support, the dog. What do you leave him with that he did not have before you got there? Most women say nothing. And a lot of women say, after I leave him with nothing, I hope to take everything else he gets for the rest of his life so that he stays with nothing. That's bitterness and resentment. So not only are you going to get a man and not contribute value to his life, you're also going to tear him down. And then after you leave him with nothing, you're going to make sure that you destroy him so that he's not happy ever after you leave. Now, my question is, what type of person does that and then calls themselves valuable? Please, anybody, ladies, men, answer that, because that's a good question. He said, "Get your hands up, boys. We don't need women." I ain't saying that we don't need women. Women are the most valuable thing to men when women choose to behave the way feminine women used to behave back in the day. But unfortunately, the modern women do not choose to behave as a valuable asset to the relationship. They choose to benefit from the relationship as an independent woman, where they benefit from being there without contributing to it. They didn't build the man's success, but they expect to get money out of the man's success, use the man's resources after his success. A man spends 75% of his life making him the best man he can be in his life. And the last 25 years of his life, he's maintaining her success, her way of life, her trips around the world and vacations and everything. But she can do it all by herself. But women don't date men that's broker than her. Women don't move a man into her house and pay for all of his bills so that he doesn't have to work anymore. You know, the average woman lives off of the man. No matter how it looks, the average woman lives off of the man. And that's just a societal expectation. It's not because women are bad. That's a societal expectation that women live off of the man. But if you think about it, because I've given you guys plenty of ways, y'all can start up trusts. Y'all can do a trust where y'all put joint money in, have a beneficiary set up where y'all can end up getting distributions from the trust even after y'all break up. And if you built a trust for each one of your relationships, if you had 10 bad relationships, you got 10 paychecks coming to you from exes. Because a trust should be a non-revocable trust that just, it gets built, it gets established. After, right before y'all break up, you make it permanent, make it irrevocable, and it will continue to pay you out. So you're not losing out on your investment in that relationship, because that relationship will continue to pay you for the rest of your life. If you put up 100 grand into that trust and then y'all break up and you're getting 25% of the return every year, where 50% is being reinvested back into the trust, you're getting 25 and he's getting 25 out of the 100% dividends coming out of the trust. You would be getting, you put up 100 grand, you get what, $25,000 a year? No. Yeah, that's 25%. You get $25,000. Well, $2,500, I think, because it's 25%. That, and if you did that with each relationship that you was in, say you had 10 relationships and each relationship is giving you a 20 grand check. Over 20 years of you building your life from 18 to 40, by the time you 40, you got enough X's giving you dividends from the last 10 trusts that you built that you getting 200,000 a year. Off the last 10 relationships giving you 20 grand a year. Damn. After 2,000 years, we are still asking the same exact questions. No solution. People 2,000 years from now will still be asking. That ain't true. We got a solution. Women don't like the solution. The solution that men have right now is that since the Western culture is not willing to change and is going to get worse over time, is that we're going to go to the East and we're going to find the women that still have the same traditional behavior patterns as the women who used to exist in the West back in the 60s. That's the reason why we're looking at all of the passport bros flying to the East, mostly going to Asia. Number one country in the world where men can find a good wife is the Philippines. But the top 5 countries, Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, China, and Japan, and Singapore, top six countries in no specific order, except Philippines is number 1. They're going to go there and get a traditional wife because those women will give you 10, 15, 20 years of their life before they give up on you. America, a woman will give you 1 year, 5 months, and 6 days before she gives up on you. And sometimes less than that. Sometimes after the honeymoon phase, the first 6 months, they're gone. The first 9 months, they're gone. So it's a huge milestone to make it to a 2-year relationship. Because in America, we don't last that long with one another due to the lack of communication. And I'm not saying that there isn't a lack of communication in other countries, because them women in the Philippines have a silent treatment where they don't talk to you for 5 weeks. But she ain't going nowhere. She just ain't talking to you. But do you think that she's gonna give you the silent treatment and not make sure that you fed? She gonna feed you. She just ain't gonna tell you shit. She might slam the bowl on the table and walk off, but you ain't hungry. It's a completely different atmosphere. But one of the things that we got to learn in 2026 is that after 2,000 years of recognizing that the one thing we need to make these relationships work is communication, there is no reason why at 35, 40, 50 years old that you're saying that you know what you want. Why are you not considered valuable? The question you need to ask yourself is that what you want, do you know what your partner needs and wants, and are you willing to get that? That's the question you need to be asking yourself. Because now that you know what the criteria is to get you, you need to find out what the criteria is to be accepted by somebody else. That's the other half of the equation. If I'm in the top 23% of men, I know what women want, and I'm not 5'6". Well, I am 5'6". I'm not 6'3". I know what women want. I am not about to knock out both my knees and add 2 feet to me to make me taller. At the end of the day, she's going to accept me at 5'6", or she's not. A woman that's 4'11" is probably going to accept me being taller than her than a woman that's 5'4", because she's going to be 5'4" with 6-inch heels. She's going to be 5'4" with 9-inch stilettos with a 3-inch lift on them, so that she can go from being 5'4" to being 6'3". Talking about she want a man taller than her. Take off the fucking heels, wear flats, wear sneakers, and I'll be taller than you. I'll be taller than you by 2 inches. You know, they don't think about that. But even knowing that, I could be in the top 23 percentile, right? Still short like Rey Mysterio, still short like Tupac and DMX, you know, short like Matt Hardy. But at the same time, I'm going to find out what else she's looking for in a man. And each woman is different. But if women are looking for a man in the top 23 percentile, first and foremost, you're not going to find very many men that are over 6 feet tall that are making over $100,000 a year. You're not going to find that many men. You're going to find some men that are making $100,000 a year, but they're going to be under 6 feet tall, between 5'4" and 5'9". You're going to find a lot of men that make over $100,000 a year that are not 6 feet tall. So knowing what you're looking for in a man, you need to now ask yourself, what do I got to do to qualify for you? Because the entire time that men are single, men are doing that survey. Well, what do you look for in a man? What do you think is good for a first date? What do you like? What do you want? What do you need? We always, even if we get rejected by the girl, we're still asking those interview questions. So we get a census. And based on that census, we know how to stack up. What you expect of me: make a certain quantity of money, own a certain quantity of assets, have a certain quantity of availability. That is the foundation of what I need to have to qualify to find out what the fuck else you want. Now, when is she going to do the same thing? That's the question. Not a lot of women have the answer to that question, but you're 38, 43, 55. You're mature, individually successful. You know what you want in life. But what makes a man happy besides sex? Most women don't know that question and not trying to find out. Like I said, I'm 5'2". I don't need to use a ladder to kiss her belly button. That's what I'm trying to tell you, bro. Like, what the hell? If you taller than my chin, I'm gonna have some issues. I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna date a tall chick. I probably would, but I'm not going to deliberately put myself in a position with a female that don't want me because I'm about as tall as her belly button. Because as soon as she talk to a dude that's taller than me, she gone. Because I'm not what she wants. That's going to be one of the issues that we don't pay attention to in relationships. One of the reasons why relationships fall apart so quickly is because if you settle for what you're not looking for, you're going to find yourself breaking up with your relationship as soon as you find what you're looking for. You go and lease a car because it gets you from point A to point B. Let you find the car that the exact one that you were looking for. You're gonna trade in the car you just went and got to go get the one that you wanted, especially if the one that you wanted is easier to come by. I'm not mature even at 71. Well, but doesn't change much. Your expectations are still your expectations, but it's the average expectation of a lot of men. Let's go ahead and touch base on the next question.
My girlfriend of almost 4 years just cheated on me. I'm a
Whoa.
26-year-old man and my girlfriend is 23. We've been together for almost 3 years and 8 months. We started dating in June 2022 while we were both in college. I was also working at the time. Initially, I wasn't looking for anything serious, but she genuinely loved me for who I was, and I eventually decided to commit to the relationship. 2022 was great. The honeymoon phase lasted almost the entire year. In 2023, things started to change. I was in my final year of studies and still working. Because of my job, I was fairly well known, and there were situations where other women showed interest in me. This made my girlfriend insecure and jealous at times. I was even accused of cheating, which I never did. I consistently explained myself, reassured her, and did everything I could to prove my loyalty. Despite that, the year had many fights and disagreements. At one point, I wanted to end the relationship. She begged me to stay, telling me how much she loved me and how she saw a future with me, especially once I finished my degree. I graduated in 2024 and started working immediately while she was still in school. My job required me to move to another city. We now live about 4 hours apart when she's at college and about 8 hours apart when she's at home. The distance made seeing each other difficult, but we tried to make it work. I would take leave once every month or two, and she would visit during school holidays. We're not perfect, but we had a shared vision and plans for the future. Earlier in our relationship, I had strict boundaries around clubbing and partying. We eventually realized that this was unhealthy and made us miserable. Her friends would invite her out, and she felt left out, and I also wanted to go out sometimes. We agreed that we're still young and that the rule was toxic. We decided we could go out as long as we communicated and acted responsibly. This worked well for years. Fast forward to December 2025. She was at home with her family, and I was with mine. One night, she told me she was going out with her cousin, which wasn't unusual. She later came back and texted me as normal. In the weeks following that, she started acting differently. She went out more often, communication became poor and delayed, and something fell off. Today, she told me she needed to talk to me and sent me the following message. I don't even know what to say because it's not my proud moment, but being honest is something I think will help. I know this will hurt you, and I am truly sorry for the pain I'm causing you. I'm telling you because you deserve the truth and because I respect you. It's been haunting me, and I really can't keep this from you anymore. In December, I was once disloyal to you. I cheated on you. Even though there were factors like intoxication, I don't want to blame my actions on that. I take full responsibility for what I did. I called her to understand what happened. She told me that the night she went out with her cousin brought her boyfriend along, and the boyfriend brought a friend. They drank heavily, and she ended up going home with that friend and sleeping with him. She says she remembers everything clearly and that it has been haunting her since. To make it worse, the guy also has a girlfriend. Hearing this completely broke me. I told her we were done. I still love her, but I feel shattered. It feels like the future I imagined disappeared in an instant, and I honestly don't know what to do or how to process this.
All right, so I'm gonna come from a. It happens on time. Yeah, I was gonna come from. Ladies are gonna be sitting over here wondering, like, damn, I thought he was gonna talk shit about this girl. First and foremost, you fucking up because you got out of college, you started your career, and for some reason, y'all relationship go from her being at college to her being at her mom and them instead of her being at college and then being at your house. What relationship did y'all fucking have? Y'all are homies. Y'all not in no long-term committed relationship towards marriage. Y'all are college hookups that didn't really hook up much. Y'all, the rule that you had because you were in a committed relationship of no clubbing is not a toxic rule. It is a healthy rule that prevents the temptation of infidelity. People's inhibitions drop typically when they have alcohol, and the pressures of, because no man cares if you've got a boyfriend, if they're drinking and they're horny and you're drinking and you're willing to do it. This dude had a girlfriend. He went out, he had a girlfriend, he went out with his friend and his friend's girlfriend, and he was willing to sleep with you when you got a boyfriend. There was no morals there. But had you not went clubbing, had you stuck to the rules of the beginning of the relationship, you would not have had that temptation. Oh, exactly, exactly. Roommates, straight up is all y'all want. But they're not even really roommates because they don't live together. They never lived together. They went to college together. They went to the same college together. And then after he graduated from college, he moved, which technically, in my observation, ended the relationship, but they just maintained communication with one another. And she's going from college directly home to her mama house because he said when she's in college, she's 4 hours away from him, which isn't that far of a drive depending on how big your state is. Because in Florida, a 4 hour drive is like going to Miami. And California, a 4 hour drive is like what, Seattle from LA? So it ain't that really far of a drive. But he said when she's not in college, she's 8 hours away. That's half a day. What the hell? What you mean she going further away when she's not in college? That make no damn sense. So she's not coming to you when she's not in college. And you work too much. You got a 40-hour schedule. You're not going to her. What kind of relationship is y'all trying to manifest? Now, she apologized for the whole infidelity thing, and I understand that. But if you're doing 25, 30-year marriage, somebody's going to cheat on somebody. So I don't know why you couldn't fix that. Oh, that's adorable. She said, oh, college love. I don't give a damn about no college love. I'm sitting over here thinking about logistics. You got the right to feel that way, Claudia, but I'm sitting over here thinking about that. It ain't even about college love. It ain't even about college love. If you was moving in the direction of house when she's not in college, and y'all are supposed to be going to her parents' house one holiday and your parents' house the other holiday, because y'all are supposed to be a couple. Even if y'all are in college, y'all are supposed to be a couple. And then a lot of people believe that when you're in college, you're stuck in the university that you started with until you graduate. Man, when you move to another state or 4 hours away, she could have transferred to a college near you. Unless her college was the best college in the area. Her college better be damn Harvard or Yale or some shit like that. If it would have been just an off-brand college that kind of was good, or it was aight, but it wasn't the best one, then she could have just went to another damn college. Y'all make it seem like college credits don't transfer. If he moved and y'all got a relationship together, move your ass over there to him so that you're closer to him. Y'all should have been 8 hours away from her family and then going to visit her family once a month or once a season and live in the same damn house and build your relationship and shit. Exactly, Michael. Friends with benefits. That's what it was. It was a friends with benefits that they called all college love. But it wasn't college love. Y'all were conveniently hooking up with each other, consistent sex partners. That's really what it was. And she feels bad about it. She tells you about it. You're going to break up with her. Dude, if you planned a future with this woman, forgive her and put more effort into bringing her home so that she can smash you instead of somebody else. That makes no damn sense. Did this guy say how long the relationship was? Between 22 and now. He said 3 years at first. And then now, December 25, the infidelity happened, and she just told him like within the last 30 days or so. So overall, about 3 or 4 years that they're together, but the entirety of his college stay, right? Still, there's enough history there where she didn't let it linger too long. She didn't try to keep it a secret too long. She did come and tell you about it. You didn't have to catch her in the act. Nobody had to send her video. She didn't have to come and pop up with some I'm pregnant or I got an STD kind of situation. That's why I'm telling you. She just like, hey, this happened over Christmas break. Oops, my bad. It's not acceptable. But if you planned a future with her, you should be able to work that situation out and make it a common rule now Because of that infidelity, that's why we had this no clubbing rule. So let's go back to the no clubbing rule. You can't go out and club like a single woman because you're not single. And as your friends and family have shown you, that even though everybody that went out that night had a partner, you still managed to cheat. So you can't go out with couples. That prevents future infidelity to some degree. Now, she can show restraint going forward. You've never cheated on her, and she doesn't cheat on you anymore. While it's not fair, the fact is that fixing the relationship is still possible if you can get over it. You're gonna look at her different. You're gonna feel betrayed. You're gonna have very little value in her stock because she's smashing random dudes. But the fact is that you can still move forward with that, because whenever a man cheats on a woman after 5, 10, 15 years of marriage and comes back with a child that ain't hers, it's the same dynamic. To be forgiven is not gender exclusive. To be forgiven is something that has to be done from the other party who didn't cheat. And to be forgiven requires atonement. She has to put a lot more effort into making this up to you. And it isn't groveling at your feet and apologizing for the rest of the relationship, because that's going to build resentment. I'd say 11 and a half years should be enough time realize whether to put a ring on a favor. But no. Okay, so he said 2022. So we're in 2026. So from 22, when a relationship started, until now, and then the girl just cheated on him in 25. So from 22 to 26, you're looking at 4 years total, not 11 and a half. The other guy, a couple comments ago, was like 16 years, and they had gotten married 14 years in. They were married for 2 years. This guy, they've been dating for 3 years. He moved out of town on year 4 of their relationship, and now the infidelity happens 4 years into the relationship. But yeah, 11 and a half. Or you saying 1.5 years should have a marriage? 1.5 years. No, I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that's moving a bit fast. And the reason why I believe that's moving a bit fast is because you are supposed to be able, first and foremost, you're supposed to be able to get your emotional understanding with one another done inside of the first 2 years. You're supposed to be able to get your finances in order inside of the first 2 years of living together. And then that's 4 years total. Then you're supposed to have your plans for the future set in stone before you get married. I mean, old school, we would have met in groups, picked our partner out of the group. We would have been friends for 6 months to 2 years. Then we would have been dating for 2 to 4 years. Then we would have been engaged for 1 to 5 years. And then we would have gotten married, where we would have, if you're thinking about in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where it was no sex before marriage kind of situation, we would have been in a platonic relationship for almost 10 years before we got married. So a 1 year and 6 months into knowing somebody is not enough to dedicate yourself to a 20-year marriage or a 40-year marriage. Well, you're going to ask me, am I single? And that doesn't change the dynamic, because again, you and I talked about what happened with you and how long were you and him together before he did what he did. Were you guys together for 1.5 years, 2 years? Because you're still dealing with that 8 years later. And had y'all got married, y'all would get divorced. And had you had more time with that, you might have not have gotten married. 1.5 years is not enough time to say that you know somebody for a 30-year commitment. In first 3 months, most of us are still sleeping around with or at least dedicated to the person that we're dating, sleeping with the person that we're dating, and then we're putting up with stuff that we don't like in the first 3 months. We start weeding out our dislikes in the next 6 months. So we're 9 months into a relationship. So you're saying that you were with this person 10 years. And then what happened happened. And now 8 years later, that's 18 years you've known this guy, you regretted what happened. So a year and a half in wasn't enough time. A year and a half in wasn't enough time. If you guys would have known each other for 5 or 7 years, if you guys would have been able to make plans and for the future and have a lot more dedications, it doesn't guarantee that he wouldn't have done what he did. It just means that if he would have done that before y'all would have tied the knot, you would not have the situation you have right now. Does that make sense? Women are quick to get into the marriage because women get commitment. Well, women get a sense of psychological security because she's tied to his assets financially. Marriage is a financial contract. Marriage, especially without a prenup, guarantees her that she gets everything he's got. That's what marriage does. Marriage does not solidify the relationship. The relationship can be solidified 20 years of guarantees. Okay, he proposed 5 years in, and I told him no. But if you told him no 5 years in, then your previous statement that 1.5 years they should have been married, then that means that 5 years in, you knew that he wasn't the right man for you. Which means a year and a half in, you would have known he wasn't the right man for you. Which means when you found out he wasn't the right man for you, you would have had to go through a huge divorce, which would have been a lot harder of a separation than just breaking up. Again, a year and a half isn't enough. The fact is that, again, women want that security of the marriage because it ties them to the assets of the man. It's a subconscious desire that is pressed upon the woman from the women in her life. The friends, why aren't you married? The mothers and grandmothers, why you haven't gotten me more grandbabies, and all this other stuff. Is societal pressures on the woman to get married. But the truth of the matter is that the marriage is supposed to happen when you're sure. The marriage is not supposed to happen because you're pressured. He might have proposed because he thought that you were a valuable woman and you did not believe that he was good enough for you, or he needed some improvements that he had not performed yet. A lot of women are the other way around, where the women pressure the man to marry her when she's not exhibiting wife behavior, or they don't have their financial shit together. Women are willing to get an abortion because their money's not in order, but they're not willing to forego marriage until they get their money in order. There's never a right time to have a kid, but there's definitely a right time to get married. You can't afford this shit. If you can't afford to not get an abortion, you can't afford to get married. So no, a year and a half is too soon. A lot of people are going to rush into a marriage. If you fly over to another country and you meet this person, you've been with this person for a year, and you're flying back and forth, and that's a lot of money to spend. You might marry that person so that you can help them get citizenship in your country so that you don't have to fly back and forth so often. But you're still rushing into that marriage. It's too soon. That type of marriage under 2 years is going to be on academic probation, where her citizenship is contingent to validating the marriage, even if it ends in divorce. But if you were married for 2 or more years before you move her over, oh no, she automatic. There's no probationary period there. So if you move to the Philippines and you marry somebody in the Philippines and y'all are married for 2 years before you fly to the United States with your wife, that's your wife. She skips the process, right? So you said no out of spite. He said no after you. No, you said no after him. So there was a proposal twice in 5 years. Again, reinforcing the fact that a year and a half wasn't enough. And right now, today, y'all are not together after the first kid. But see, you didn't propose to him because you wanted to spend the rest of your life with him. You proposed to him because of the first kid. Get pregnant, let's get married, so that the child isn't born out of wedlock. Not because we love each other, not because we want to have a family together, spend the rest of our lives together for better or for worse. And for worse is what happened to you. That for worse part, I'm not even going into the for worse part because that's none of everybody else's business. You and I know what the for worse part when you told me about it, but that for worse part would have been the marriage. Y'all would have worked that out and stayed married, because that's the for worse part. And you can admit today that you would not have wanted to stay married to him after that for worse part happened, which means that 5 years wasn't enough. 8 to 10 years might be enough. Earlier, when I thought you said 11 and a half years would have been enough. Because y'all would have had y'all shit together after 10 years of doing this. I already told y'all, if y'all come together in a relationship and y'all are building wealth for 10 years, you should have almost $1 million or at least $500,000 between the two of you. And within 20 years, you should have between $1 million and $2 million if you're putting your money away wisely. So by the time y'all get to that $500,000 in a brokerage account, for y'all to be able to afford that $250,000 dream wedding that she wants, by the time y'all get there, that's when you qualify to get married. If you don't have $250,000 sitting aside to marry this girl, you got to borrow money from somebody to give her the dream wedding that she wants. Y'all not financially stable enough to get married in the first place. Then if you got a female that wants a $250,000 wedding, when y'all could have invested that in a brokerage account and got y'all a $75 wedding, which is just a set of piece and a couple friends, and throw your soiree at the Olive Garden, you got a financially irresponsible person on your plate, because that's $250,000 that's going to be thrown away, a memory that will only last you until your next fight. Because when y'all get divorced, y'all are not thinking, oh, we spent too much money on this marriage, it's a bad investment for us to get a divorce. No, you're saying, fuck that, I hate him because he didn't pick up his socks off the floor. Fuck that $250,000 marriage. He ain't shit because he don't put the dishes in the dishwasher. You no longer care about how much it costs to get married. All you care about now is how much you're getting out of the divorce. So why put so much effort into marriage if you're not going to stay in it for the rest of your life? And because when you think about rest of your life, the mindset of rest of your life, you should spend a large portion of your life preparing for that with the person you're going to stay with. So you in your 30s, you're going to marry a guy. You should probably kick it with him for 10, 12 years where y'all know this is going to be a good thing, get married. Because if you get married in your 40s, 10, 11 years, 12 years into a relationship, you got 40 more years of marriage. Can you give a man 40 years no matter what he does, even if your first baby daddy is going to be the same behavior as your second baby daddy? Are you willing to accept that this time and stick with the man for 40 more years after he did what the first guy did? Because if not, you got to understand, getting married is a dedication of faith in the other person, that under no circumstances will this relationship end outside of one of us dying. And if you value those bonds, whether they cheat on you, whether they steal all of your money, whether y'all go bankrupt together because of their irresponsible spending, you're going to stay with them. That's what a marriage is. Whether they disrespect you, you're going to work it out. They don't value you the way you want them to value you. You're going to work it out. Couples counseling, therapy, marriage counseling, talk to the priest. That's a marriage. The only time that you truly get a divorce is when they're physically abusive or emotionally abusive, where you cannot tolerate the actual abuse. But even in divorce court, there's a separation period, 12 months of working out the relationship in couples therapy. And if you can't work out the marriage, then you get the divorce. So if you're not willing to give this man 15, 20, 30 years of your life to fix any kind of mistake he can make, recognizing that he should be giving you the same quantity of time for any kind of mistake you can make, then y'all not supposed to be getting married, and you cannot guarantee that in the first year and a half of knowing somebody. You can't guarantee that. You have a higher probability if you go get somebody from the Philippines and fly them to America, and now they're dependent upon you because their whole family network is not accessible to them. But you can't guarantee that if the person that you're talking to today can leave you for somebody in your neighborhood or somebody in your household. And then wait, if you fly out there to the east and you marry them on their turf, you got no network. They got a network. You can't guarantee they're not going to cheat on you. They know you're not going nowhere. But at what point do you appropriately say, I know I got a keeper? Keeper meaning one I'm not letting go for nothing. A year and a half ain't enough time. He said no to you in less than 5 years. You said no to him after 5 years, just based on what you told me. You proved yourself based on your own responses that 1 year and 6 months is not enough. We need to put more effort into our future. A business doesn't promote you inside of the first 6 months to management. You've got to show 5 or 7, 10 years worth of commitment on the job before you start getting promoted. You might get hired in middle management because you've got 5, 10, 15 years of experience from another company that has the same work experience. But you've already shown somewhere else that you can do this for 10 years. That's why you're starting in the middle. But you don't come fresh out of high school starting in middle management because you passed the 90-day grace period. You get promoted after dedication on the job, and you get promoted to a marriage after dedication in a relationship. And that dedication needs to be far more than clubbing in the streets and a year and a half of not arguing. And what relationship doesn't have arguments in the first 6 months? So if you say, I will marry you if we can have 1 full year of no arguments, then ask yourself, how long was it in between each argument? I know it was less than 12 months. So again, 1 year, 6 months, never again. I mean, it's not enough. So in your opinion, what time should the guy put a ring on the finger? All right. Women value themselves based on what they're capable of, but not what they're willing to do with their man. When the woman has found what values both the man and the woman's long-term goals in the relationship, and she's willing to commit to that. Financial success, personal success, and she's going to put more effort into the success of those goals than just sleeping with the man when he's off. Whether it's 2 incomes, living under one and invest in the other, or if one of y'all are going to be stay at home, going to college and taking care of the kids, and the other one's going to be working a full-time job. When y'all commit to, we're going to be at X, Y, and Z location in 20 years, and we're not going to give up on each other until we get there. At that moment, you might be ready to start talking about marriage. Because if you understand, back in the 1600s, when women were getting married at 23, and the lifespan of a woman and a man, well, the lifespan of a man was between 30 and 40. You get married at 23, he's dead within 7 years. You get married at 23, he's dead within 17 years. If you can guarantee him 20 years, okay, if you can guarantee him 20 years, then you're and that means unconditional guarantee. When she can guarantee him 20 years and he can guarantee her 20 years, then y'all should get married. But if she can't guarantee him 20 years, there's no reason why he should be putting a ring on her finger. And then think about this. When a woman is looking for a $5, $10, $17,000 ring, she ain't ready to get married. When she's looking for a $250,000, a $500,000 wedding, she ain't ready to get married. Because if you're trying to build a future where y'all can retire in 20 years so that y'all can spend the next 40 years traveling the world and living life together, a $250,000 marriage will put a big dent in that goal. Traveling the world at 65 and having your standard of living in America paid in full, and you don't have to work ever for the next 40 years is the kind of goal that both of you should be agreeing to. That isn't going to be accomplished if she wants a $10,000 ring and a $250,000 marriage or the wedding. So I believe that when the woman is willing to dedicate herself to the success of her man, and her man is willing to dedicate himself to her success as well, where they're guaranteeing each other a 20-year commitment or more, that's when it is time to put the ring on the finger. But if she can't guarantee him 20 years, she needs to stay in the girlfriend zone. Not even a fiance, a girlfriend zone. And if y'all do 20 years together as boyfriend and girlfriend, and y'all realize we've crossed over the marriage threshold of 20 years, if you can guarantee him another 10, get married. Because y'all done already been together 20. If you've been dating for 10 and you're married for 10, well, if you've been dating for 20 and married for 10, you done been together 30 years. If you can't guarantee him 20 years, don't get married. I think of modern marriage is an outdated concept. There's nothing in it for men. There isn't anything in it for men. The men get a companionship if the woman is willing to behave. The men don't get nothing out of it if she's not. If a woman brings some dowry into it, yeah, a woman bring dowry. Women don't bring. If a woman brought a dowry, because a lot of women value their education and a lot of women value their income, but not one woman is willing to say that I'm going to live under his income and I'm going to take my income and I'm going to invest it into a brokerage account so that we can be millionaires inside of 10 to 20 years so that we don't have to work no more after 10 to 20 years. No woman's willing to say that. That's my money. My money is my money. And his money is my money too. My stuff is my stuff and his stuff is my stuff too. And because of that mentality, there's no growth in that relationship. They will forever live at the standard of living that they found each other. They will, if they don't upgrade it to where they're always living at 90% or 95% of their income, they're forever broke because they're living together check to check. Even if they alternate and they end up getting weekly paychecks between the two of them, they're still living from his check to her check, from her check to his check, check to check. And there's no growth. And there's going to be fights. There's going to be financial fights. And those financial fights are going to lead to a breakup. They're not going to last 2 years. But when a woman is willing to dedicate herself to a 20-year plan where we're going to make it to $1 million, we're going to make it to $1 million, bro, if not $2 million. And I'm not going nowhere, no matter what, until we get there. When y'all have that kind of dedication, that's when y'all can make it. That's when y'all have a plan. Her value, if she's going to financially invest in that and that $1 million plan, her value starts to show with her career. Her education, if she knows about investments, her education is going to start showing value in that type of relationship. But if he's got to make all of the right decisions with finance in order for him to have the resources for her to benefit from it, her education doesn't mean shit. And her income doesn't mean shit because she's not contributing that to the relationship to boost the relationship up to $1 million status. She's going to take care of herself. And if y'all have kids, she's going to take care of the kids, but you're going to take care of yourself because you're the man and you're going to take care of her and the kids wherever her money stops because you're the man. Those are the relationships we deal with right now. And that's not qualifiable for marriage. That's not qualifiable for marriage because you all underhandedly recognize selfishness. One side benefits themselves and the other side gets benefited from the other side. Even if you flip the script and have a stay-at-home dad, he takes care of himself, he takes care of the kids, she takes care of herself and she takes care of him. Even in that dynamic, that's still not qualifiable for marriage. But a man would be shunned for behaving that way by the entire society, not just women. So we've got to really think about what we're getting ourselves into. Let's go ahead and check into the next one.
Found a message on my boyfriend's phone. Long
Okay.
story short, a week ago today, me and my boyfriend had a completely normal day. Nothing fell off. That night, after we put the baby to sleep, we got drunk. I went to bed and he stayed up on his phone. That's when he texted a random guy on some gay dating app and said something like, "Do you want to come have a quick fuck in my car?" He says he never went through with it and that he felt horrible about it. He called me the next day because he said he wanted to hear my voice. Now I'm connecting the dots. He's told me he thinks he has an addiction or a compulsive sexual behavior issue. He says it wasn't about the person, it was about the thrill. I guess he already felt bad before I even knew. I just feel completely shattered. I'm a stay-at-home mom and financially dependent right now, so I feel like I have nowhere to go. I don't want to tell my friends or my family because I feel embarrassed and
What you told
ashamed,
me.
even though I know I probably shouldn't. That's why I'm here. I just needed to get this off my chest somewhere. I didn't really know my boyfriend had attraction to men, which honestly is fine, but he didn't have to message someone like that while we were together. I never would have done that to him. Ever. I've had a string of bad relationships, but with him it felt different. It felt good. He's a wonderful father. I really thought I gave my baby a good dad because I thought I had a good partner too. I'm not sleeping, and I feel like I'm going through all the stages of grief at once. I'm confused, lost, and shattered. I don't know what to do yet. I'm just looking for someone to talk to because I feel really alone.
Shit. You got more problems than most women because at least with other women, they got to worry about other women. You can't even trust him with his homeboy. You always gonna be wondering, is his throat gonna hurt when he come back? Like this is a huge issue for you. I understand. So here's the thing. He might have not have known that this is what was going on because he might have would have suppressed these feelings when he was younger. Doesn't matter how these feelings started about. He got this curiosity thing. It's something that you guys need to address because either it's going to get addressed out in the open with no resentment, no judgment, and no retaliation, or it's going to get addressed behind closed doors. The moment that you have the courage to communicate those type of conversations to another person is the moment you have the internal willpower to see it through. He might go out there to that event, participate in that activity, get grossed out by it, come back and regret it. Too late, he already did it. But if he did it behind your back without your knowledge and without your consent, he would have violated the relationship further than what he already violated. Doesn't mean he's not a good dad. Doesn't mean he's not going to take good care of his kids. But there's something in his life that he's missing, and that's why he's seeking it in this fashion. Therapy would help, but if he's going to go to therapy to suppress how he feels, that's not going to help. Yeah, it'll help him suppress it, but it's not going to stop that urge. Eventually, that urge is going to have to be addressed. And when I say address, you're going to have to determine, are you comfortable with him exploring that urge and finding out if he really does swing that way? Or are you going to force him to choose between you and his urges? He might wait until your children are grown and gone off to college, and then he might decide to explore that urge. If you're married to him, this is that for worse part. If you're not married to him, you can always break up with him. If the shoe was on the other foot and the girl decided that she wanted to do a casting couch thing, be ran through by 40 guys, that's something she wants to do. You guys got to work that out. You've got to decide, are you going to entertain this urge or are you going to break up with her? Eventually, she's going to do it, just whether or not you know about it when it happens. It does not change whether it's a man with this kind of situation or a woman with this kind of situation. If your partner has an urge that is not being addressed in your relationship, it will be addressed outside of your relationship, with or without your knowledge, with or without your consent. So since it has become a situation that is now impacting your relationship, y'all need to work around fixing it. And when women tell me, oh, I think I'm going through the stages of grief, that's not the stages of grief, sweetheart. You're going through the stages of detachment. Detachment, where you're going to emotionally grieve the loss of the relationship because in your mind, the relationship is over. You're going to go through the crying phase, the sad and depression phase, and everything that you would have went through from physically breaking up with him without breaking up with him. Then when you are emotionally detached from him, you will be disgusted with his presence. You're going to pull away from any signs of affection. You're going to put distance between you and him. You're going to make excuses, but you're not going to tell him why. You're not going to want to be intimate with him anymore, and you're not going to tell him why. You might stay with him for the sake of the kids, but you will put up an emotional wall between you and him, and you're not going to tell him why, because you have already started emotionally breaking up with him without telling him. And eventually, you may even get tired of being in the same house as him because you have no emotional connection with him because it stopped when you found out. And now you're going to leave him. He doesn't know why you're leaving now because technically it was just a text. So he didn't actually do anything wrong, but he could have had he saw it through. So the fact that he could have is the reason why you already broke up with him. You just haven't admitted it to yourself in order for you to admit it to him. Something as simple as a text message can ruin the whole relationship. But if you valued this person, if you valued your relationship, if you valued the commitment and effort that you claim that you put into the relationship, you should have the capabilities of working it out. You should. You might not, but you should have the ability to work it out. But if you already got married, you gave your word that you would work it out no matter what. And that's why, Claudia, marriage after a year and a half isn't a good thing. Because even with this young lady here, if you're not willing to work out the worst parts of life, because when you think about these vows, for better means when we're doing good, when we're hitting the lottery, everybody's getting raises and bonuses and buying new houses and buying new cars and all this other stuff, for better. For worse, when somebody loses their job, when somebody can't afford to pay for the bills, when we're getting evicted, when we're living in a shed, when we're with infidelity, all of that stuff. When you're healthy, when you're on chemo, when you're on Alzheimer's, when you're dealing with dementia, when you're dealing with bipolar, the for worse part, sickness and in health, until one of us naturally dies, not because you put arsenic in his food and killed him, when one of us naturally dies. So by a natural disaster, car crash, or old age. So when you're looking at, when women in 2026 look at marriage, you have to ask yourself, with all the bullshit I'm putting up with him right now, do I want to do it for another 20 years? I don't give a damn how good your man is. Ask yourself before you start making him try to marry you. Ask yourself, with all the bullshit you put up from him right now, do you want to do that for another 20 years? And if the answer to that question is no, it doesn't mean you need to break up with him. You need to fix the shit you don't like in your dating phase before you transition into your marriage phase. Because when y'all get married, nothing is going to change between the two of y'all. Whatever y'all not doing, y'all not going to do when y'all get married. Whatever y'all not doing is probably not going to get done even more when you get married, because you're going to have the comfort of ain't nobody going nowhere. You need to spend the largest majority of your pre-marriage life teaching each other how to treat each other, so that your post-marriage life, your marriage life, has the least quantity of dysfunction possible. So y'all should never be in a situation where, as soon as I know a social security number, we getting hitched. Fuck that. As soon as he let me drive his Hellcat, we getting hitched. As soon as I get pregnant, we getting hitched. No, that's not what it's about. It's a financial contract, but it's also a guarantee to the other person that you're going to give them the rest of your life. So if you don't have that in you, why are you trying to get married so fast? Better question. Why are you trying to get divorced so fast? Because you already know if you're in a fucked up relationship and then you get married, you're in a fucked up marriage. And you already know you're not going to get 5 years to a fucked up marriage. So that means you're going to get a divorce because your marriage was fucked up. But if you knew that your relationship was fucked up before you got married, why are you trying so hard to get divorced? Why are you rushing to a divorce? Take your time. If we're going to spend the rest of our life together, we got the rest of our life for that part. We should spend more time committed to each other pre-marriage, satisfying each other's expectations, becoming comfortable and satisfied with each other's efforts before we tie the knot, where tying the knot is just red tape. It's almost like you've been driving this brand new Porsche for the last 5 years, but now they're going to give you the title. It's red tape. It's been yours the whole 5 years. Now they're giving you the title. It's red tape. Marriage should be the exact same way. Y'all been doing this like a married couple for 10, 15, 20 years. Now you're getting married. Red tape. But not milestone marriage because we have to. Those are the marriages that don't last. The ones that are, any relationship that is done out of convenience is not going to last. And any marriage that's done out of convenience is not going to last. And if he's marrying you out of the convenience to satisfy you, if he's not happy, it's not going to last because he's harboring resentment. And if you're marrying him just because you're pregnant, it's not going to last because you're harboring resentment. So here's a good question, Claudia, and you can take this with you as we get into the next comment. Ask yourself, what about him do I want to marry? And what about him would I prefer not to marry? See, that second question is more important than the first one. Because you're going to find a lot more reasons not to marry that person than you're going to find reasons to marry. Every single time. Because y'all did not stand on your non-negotiable behavior before y'all came to the show. Y'all didn't even know that was a thing. Y'all started coming here over the past 2 years and just started realizing that if you stood on your non-negotiable expectations for behavior from date one, you would have had the relationship you were satisfied with that would have transitioned you into a marriage quicker. Y'all, oh, but I love him, and made excuses for his bullshit. Oh, but I love her, but making excuses for her bullshit for the first 6 months of the relationship. Now that y'all done gotten used to one another, fuck love, you need to pick your damn socks up. Fuck love, you need to get in there and wash them damn dishes. Now the relationship is being ironed out 6 months in. 90 days of training, 90 more day probation, a year has gone by. If the next 6 months don't get better, fuck it, I'm out. 1 year, 5 months, 6 days. That's why getting married a year and a half in is not going to work. Because breakups happen before the wedding. And now you've got the groom or the bride sleeping with somebody at the wedding. Or the bachelor or bachelorette party. All scenarios point to y'all should have gave it another 5 or 10 more years. That's the reason why the shit don't go the way it's supposed to go. Make sure y'all like and subscribe as y'all dive in here. One more. Let's see what this one's got.
My wife doesn't want to look good for me. I've told her that I go to the gym and am careful about what I eat, so I can look good for her, keep up with the kids, and live a long and healthy life. I asked her to join me and she went a couple times, but she just doesn't want to. She doesn't try to dress attractive for me, even when I make suggestions on what I think she would look good in. She says she is always tired, yet she likes to tell me what to do around the house. She does do the laundry and helps get the kids to sleep, but I cook 90% of the meals, I do 90% of the dishes, I do all the yard and automotive work. When I am home, I change most of the diapers. We both work full-time jobs. She sits at a desk and answers phones. I do commercial electrical work. I walk around 5 miles a day at work on top of the physical tasks. I am also taking night classes for my electrical career. When it comes to the bedroom, it was more fun for both of us when she kept up with her water intake and exercised for the short time she did. Now it doesn't happen often and she dries up too quick. Her answer to getting healthy is taking weight loss shots, which does not improve overall fitness. I don't hound her about her body or going to the gym. I try not to say things that only make her feel down about herself.
Do exes ever get
Hold
back
on.
together?
We'll answer that question next. So, you ever thought depression and exhaustion? She got a full-time career. Yeah, she's sitting at a desk and you walking all the damn time, but you knew that she wasn't active when y'all got together. Well, I don't understand what the bullshit problem is. Your depression is the reason why I touch on depression is because intimacy is impacted by depression. So her lack of fluidness during the activity is not because she's not exercising. It's because she's not attracted to you, bro. That's what it is. She's giving you what you asked for because you're asking for it, but she don't really want to do it with you, but she really not going to stop you. That's the problem. Y'all can probably rekindle the romance by doing some romantic stuff, but also if depression is involved, if there's something bothering her that she's not talking to you about, if she gets past that depression, her mood will change and then the intimacy will improve. You're not attracted to her. You're complaining about her lack of exercise. No matter how nice you put it, there's no nice way to tell somebody they're fucking up. So if you're implying that she's losing her appeal, that's going to make her feel worse. She does not have the motivation and energy you do. I can walk 3 hours and 10 miles, work an 8 to 10 hour day, and then walk 3 hours, 10 miles back. My girl can walk to the car and drive to the job and sit on the phone and then drive back to the house and tell me the 2 hour walk around the grocery store is exhausting. But you chose her, bro. So it's your responsibility to fix that. Now, fixing that doesn't mean put her on some fucking Lou Ferrigno P90X program. What you need to do is figure out what's going on with her emotions and her feelings. Maybe get her some therapy. She might have to get some medication, some mood stabilizers or something to that effect. You don't need to put her on the female Viagra, but at the end of the day, if you got to grab some lubricant, make it work. She's not turning you down. She's not going to give you 6 months of making you be a monk and make you wait for it. But at the end of the day, she's not feeling it. That's what your problem is. Your problem is that she is not attracted to you when you are attracted to her. And it shows in the dryness. Every woman knows this. Y'all go to a club, y'all find a dude, you really want to sleep with them. There's more lubrication in that scenario than a dude that you wish wouldn't touch you. Being serious. So, not because she needs to exercise. She could probably benefit from it, but fuck. I exercised for the first time in 2026. For the first time since 2020. I'm 165 pounds. I do not look fat. I get tired walking up and down the stairs. Would that stop me from knocking it out for an hour and a half? Of course not. But if I'm not attracted to her, I'm harboring resentment because of the last thing she told me, is that going to impact my attraction to her? Of course it is. There she go. I told y'all Nicole be coming through here. Special shout out to Nicole, Detroit, Michigan in the house. This is one of the reasons why I tell you guys that we've got to spend more time and more effort in communication, because he picked a house potato, a couch potato, but a house potato, one that doesn't lead a house. And now he want to complain. I ain't going to tell you to leave her because that's irresponsible. As a man, you need to fix that shit. You need to find more effort. You want to come home from work, work out with her at the house instead of dragging her off to the gym. Work out with her at the house. You can work out. Y'all kids should be old enough where you teaching your children how to exercise. So if you and all the kids is exercising, you say you're doing so much stuff at the house and she don't got that much stuff to do at the house, she can come and exercise. If you got enough extra energy after you done cooked and cleaned and everything else, and she done came back from her 9 to 5 and y'all can exercise at the house, exercise at the fucking house. You know? But you know what else you can do? You can get your girl a goddamn vacation. And I ain't talking about no girls' night out vacation. Get her a spa day. Get her a spa weekend where she out there at a resort, away from the damn children that get on her damn nerves. Get her a result, full body massage, soak, everything to that effect. A moment where she don't got to think about them damn children for a weekend. See her attitude change. Sometimes you need a vacation from the relationship. Sometimes you need a vacation from being a parent. Boys to Men put that song out, Sunny Day. Sometimes you need a vacation. Give her a vacation. Give her some therapy, and then help her. That's what it's about, bro. Instead of just bitching. You sitting over here venting with me. That ain't gonna fix her problem. Her problem, you ain't even paying attention to that. All you complaining about is you're not happy. But you're not happy because she's not happy. Why is she not happy? She'll probably go find that out. Yeah, and the massage, especially the massage. I've seen a lot of guys don't think you can trigger something in a woman by giving her a massage. You don't even have to touch none of her naughty bits. All you got to do is touch that one ache, that one pain that she can't reach, and you make it stop, and the floodgates will happen every single time. I learned that a long time ago. I've been an excellent massage therapist once I realized, 20 years now. They say I got magic fingers for all the right reasons. And at the end of the day, if you make that pain stop, the girl that normally would tell you no would no longer tell you no because her back don't hurt no more. That sciatic nerve pain that she once had ain't bothering her no more. If you get a pinched nerve and it negatively impacts your sciatic flow, your sciatic nerve, it actually interferes with your mojo. So, give her a massage, foot massage, back massage, bubble bath. It's not about spoiling her, but it's about treating the symptoms to her problem. And women, while I'm telling this man to do this for his woman, if y'all did the same shit for y'all man, because women be like, men don't be satisfied with how many of y'all are giving y'all man a bubble bath, rubbing his feet, massaging his back, massaging his scalp, taking the pain out of his daily labor. Most of y'all women are like, he lucky he get the good. Well, I gotta think about it. That's the reason why these men be going somewhere else. His situation gonna keep lingering until she goes somewhere else. Let's see what this other person had to say because he was asking about breakups.
After going no contact, we left on.
Hold on, he said something about getting
For
back
my
together.
electrical career. When it comes to the bedroom, it was more fun.
Not it. We want to go a little bit further. Go a little bit further up because he was.
I don't hound her about her body or going to.
He's doing too much. Let's go over here.
I don't hound her.
Still.
Let's see what
I don't hound her about her body or going to the gym. I try not to say things that only make her feel down about herself.
You're right. The best things in life are free. Here it is.
Do exes ever get back together after going no contact? We left on good terms, and we talked about hopefully being better for each other one day, but I don't want to hold on to false hope. But I really don't want to move on from her either. We love each other still.
Okay. So, yes, people do get back together after going no contact for a little while. Yes, people do break up and stay in contact with one another for a while and they get back together. The problem with getting back with your ex is that there is a reason why y'all broke up. And ironically, you didn't fix it. Something you didn't do, something she didn't do. Something you did, something she did. Y'all didn't fix it. Y'all ended y'all relationship in a lack of communication. You buried the issue because you ain't together no more. Y'all get back together. The first problem you're going to have in your second time around is the same issue that wasn't resolved the first time around. And whoever caused the problem is going to be the one bitching. If she broke up with you the first time because she mad at you because you said or did or didn't do or didn't say, second time it happened, she gonna throw it up. That's the reason why I broke up with your ass the first time. And vice versa. If he broke up with her because she said, did, or didn't do, and y'all get back together. See, this the reason why I left the first time. And it's gonna start the argument over again. An X is an X for a reason, and you should always leave your X's in the past. If you figure out what you did wrong in the relationship, and you fix that, you change that, you improve that, you might do better going back to your ex only if your ex did the same thing. If your ex didn't change, even if you've changed and gotten better, if your ex is still the same, you're going to feel like your ex is worse. And a relationship is always going to end worse the second time around, because the first time around, they did not say and do a lot of the things that they would have said and done because they were afraid of your reaction to it. Whether they were afraid to hurt you or they were afraid of retaliation. All the stuff that they contemplated that they wish that they could have did to you before they left the first time, when they break up with you the second time, they're going to get that. Whether they clean out all your bank accounts, destroy your car, burn your house down, sabotage your reputation, get you fired off your job, whatever it was that they wanted to do to you the first time that they didn't do to feel complete about that relationship, they're going to get that done the second time around. And it doesn't matter if it's a female or a male. If there was something that they wish they could have said or done to you the first time that y'all broke up that they didn't say or do, the second time that y'all break up, oh, they doing that 10 times more. It's not good. Your ex needs to stay in your past. It needs to be a learning curve that you get over and get past. Improve from that. And then you want to heavily screen the next person for your non-negotiable expectations for behavior. Prioritize meeting the expectations of the other person where their expectations are acknowledged as reasonably accomplishable, not grandstands. You should never have a relationship that is built on grandstanding. It should be a piece of cake. It should be a cakewalk. It should be the easiest thing to do next to breathing. If your relationship isn't the easiest thing to do next to breathing, where you still got to put in effort, but you ain't got to kill yourself for it. You don't have to have migraines. You don't have to have hypervigilance and draw anxiety behind it. If you can't have the kind of relationship that is easy to be in, you're doing too much. And when you are exhausted from work, exhausted from college, exhausted from the children, and you can't hold up that standard, that par plus whatever, you're going to find yourself failing to uphold those expectations, where you're going to resent the fact that you're doing everything that you can, but it's not enough. And your partner is going to resent the fact that you're not doing enough. So you need to make sure that your partner's expectations are easily manageable by you. Not saying that they got to be the simplest person in the world, but what they want to be considered happy and taken care for, you got to be able to acknowledge for yourself that no matter how hard my day gets, I can do that. If I was in a relationship and some of the hardest things that I would expect to have happen is something to drink during the podcast, something to eat, take my dog for a walk, braid my hair. All right. And some good every now and again. All right. Now, if those are the things that I need to keep me together, she should be able to say, well, shit, I can get you done in between shows. That way your hair is taken care of, feed you before the show start. That way your stomach is full, and put 5 or 7 drinks by the table so that you got something to drink. That way I'm not crossing your table and interfering with your show. She should be able to say, I can do what you need of me, and it ain't even gonna be no hard thing to do. She out there walking the dog while I'm in here running the show. That shows that the relationship is easily manageable. Now, if I got you building a house and you can't make no noise during the podcast, but the house got to be done before the snowfall, you're asking for too much. The stipulations are too steep, and at the end of the day, I'm not going to be able to manage that. So we have to really start paying attention to our non-negotiable expectations of behavior. We have to start paying attention to our capabilities in the relationship, and we have to start prioritizing what does the other person want. in consideration of this being a successful relationship. What do they want and what do they need? Get them what they need and then see if I can get them what they want. But if what they want is beyond my capabilities, why am I getting into this relationship? Women, man want children, you don't want none. I don't care what you want in the future. You don't want them right now, don't get into a relationship with him, because the odds of you changing your mind is slim because you don't want them now. If you want children now and he wants children now, if you change your mind, that should change your mind. But if you're walking into this relationship knowing that you don't want to be a mother and he wants to be a father, don't do that, because you already acknowledge that there's at least one thing that you will never give him. And the same way you do not want your wants, dreams, and ambitions to be suppressed by your man, you should never put a man in a position to force him to suppress his wants, dreams, and ambitions for you. Uniformity. Now, we done ran 3 hours into tonight's show. All our girls came in tonight. We was You're making total sense to me. Look, that's what I do here on a regular basis. And we here 7 nights a week, and all we do is make it make sense. And I'm coming from a uniform perspective. I'm not a red pill, blue pill, black pill podcast. I'm not going to sit here and say that women ain't shit, and I'm not going to sit here and say men ain't shit. We both don't do right. We both don't treat each other the way we need to be treated. And at the end of the day, we always put the blame on the other person without taking first person accountability of our involvement. All of us in our 30s and 40s have had more than one relationship, and we're all the common value in all of our breakups, even if we're currently single today. So we need to fix what we did wrong in all of our last relationships and be a better person for the next person. But we need to make sure that when we become a better person for the next person, that the first thing we do is prioritize what we know we need to get from the other person before we prioritize what we're willing to do for the other person. So I need to know that you're going to meet my expectations, and then I'm going to guarantee you that I'm going to meet yours. Instead of a man putting on a show to entertain you and impress you and wow you with his money, you need to know that he's a good spender, he's a good saver, he's a good investor. He's going to build a life that you're going to be proud of. You can quit working after a number of years of dating him, not because you're pregnant and taking care of his kids, but because both of y'all quit y'all jobs and y'all are living a life of retirement. None of that shit can be found out with the expensive 5-star restaurant that he just paid for, outside if he can waste a bunch of money on a woman he don't know her last name. Because not most women tell a man her first and last government name. She'll give her first name. She might give her last name. She might give a nickname. She might not even give her phone number on first contact. She might give her Instagram profile that does not have her real name on it. So if he's willing to spend a bunch of money on you and he don't know who the fuck you are, that shows he's irresponsible. So if women are paying attention to what they're looking for in a man, responsible should be at the top of the list. So I'll take you to a 5-star restaurant. That's all right. You're irresponsible. I don't want to fuck with that. Straight up. And this is from a man's perspective, ladies. This is from a man's perspective. Because how are you going to make it? I just told y'all a couple of weeks ago that 2 people making $50,000 a year can become a millionaire in 12 years, 5 to 10 years, and become $2 million inside of 20 years. And I told you could do that with 2 people making $50,000 a year, and a lot of y'all making $55,000 or $60,000. Some of y'all women is making a lot of money. So why have y'all been dating for the past 10 years and y'all still don't have $100,000 in the bank? That's because in your last relationship and all the many relationships you was in, the more money y'all made together, the more money y'all spent together. You need a man with financial responsibility under his belt, and you as a woman need to be more financially responsible. You should have a nest egg after every relationship. And if you ain't got that, you was fucking up in the last relationship. He should have a nest egg after every relationship, and he don't got that, he was fucking up in the last relationship. So when we start thinking about where do we want to be at in the next 20 years, you 35, 40 years old, you're grown and you know what you want. You don't want to be fucking broke the rest of your life. You don't want to be working for somebody else the rest of your life. So what are you going to do to retire before Social Security kick in, and you don't have to make a part-time job to supplement the Social Security? What are you going to do to quit working before you're 70? What plan do you have for that? And every woman needs to think about that. What plan do you have to not be working by the time you're 70 and not being dependent on your boyfriend or husband working for you, where both you and your partner quit working by the time y'all 70, or at least by the time you 70, because he might be an older man. So by the time you're 70, what are you planning on doing so that both of y'all can retire by the time you're 70? Because a 20-year plan, if you 40, I want to get into trading. Boom, there you go. See that right there? You're on that 9x16. It's up here. All them stocks, you be coming through the show every couple nights. How many stocks have you looked into since you started coming to the show? Not a lot. Out of the 52 stocks that I have had run across this screen every Tuesday night, how many of them have you wrote down? Not 10. But if you want to learn how to start trading, the first thing you have to do is figure out how to turn on a brokerage account. I usually use stash.com, which is a ETF trading, and it will allow you to put your money up on a stash app, is what they call stash app. And a lot of guys are getting into this. It's a fintech situation that allows you to put your money up onto a brokerage account and then buy into stocks. The stocks that are going across the bottom of the screen for you guys watching 9x16, but you, Nicole, you're at, well, this is 9x16 and yours is at the top. And then a lot of people looking at me 16x9 is at the bottom. So you have a stash account. So how many of these stocks did you grab, girl? How many of the stocks did you grab? Because the ones that are scrolling across the screen right now, or majority of them are all dividend stocks. The majority of them are all dividend stocks. I can tell you right now, PSEC, Orchid Island, AGNC, ABR, ARR. I'm putting them in here. And then EARN. These are going to be, if you put these in collection, these are going to be the ones that are going to give you an average of about 17% interest. Mostly real estate investment trusts. Some of them are BDCs, but they're monthly dividend payers. That's in my list. And you could just buy and hold. So just getting into stocks, you don't have to know a lot about stocks to know to follow these. Buy into these and start putting your money in, because PSCC is operating at almost 20%. Orchid Island is operating at almost 19%. AGNC is operating at about 16 or 17%. ABR is about 16, 17%. ARR is about 15%. EARN, I think, is at like 12%. But you're looking at an average between these six, 17.1% interest annually to buy and hold, which allows you, if you buy and hold, you're going to qualify for the lower taxation on stocks. And they're giving you guaranteed dividends every month, which means you can reinvest those dividends on whichever stock that drops. You buy into it while it's low and let it grow. You don't even have to sell nothing. How many of these did you get? I ain't gonna down you, sweetheart. I just want you to, if this is what you want to do with your life and build up that $1 million setup, you have to proactively get what benefits you. Okay. And if you already got a stock portfolio that you had grabbed and you grab these and add it to your stock portfolio, these pay dividends. Even if you didn't grab dividend payers, these pay dividends. And you grab these and you put these into your portfolio and then add money to them, and you will see that you'll get more payouts. And these are monthlies, not the quarterly. I got a list of them out here, but some of these are quarterly. Oh, I understand. The hardest part about being a beginner is starting. You first have to buy it. You don't have to follow me in a dividend rotation with buying and selling and hitting each one of them on the sell date. I mean, it's good. It's real good. We actually doubled our money in less than 12 months. But it's hard to do because you have to follow the stocks. You have to buy when it's time to buy. You have to sell when it's time to sell. You do better if you buy 5 days before, because it dips right before and then it starts climbing back up and you can get it at its lowest. But that's like advanced. And then there's also higher taxation because the money's not sitting still. For a beginner, buying and holding is what you need to do. So you buy these Buy and each one of them, you don't got to put a lot of money on them. You can buy each one of them, put like $10, $20 on each one of them and watch what happens. And then when you feel comfortable, add some more money to it. Every time you don't have a girls' night out and you know $150 tab would have happened that night, take that money and put it on this portfolio. Keep adding to it. The $15,000 a year that you put on entertainment, you put it on this portfolio. You'll start seeing some improvement. You'll find if you change your entertainment habits and redirect that capital to this, turn off subscriptions that you don't use and take that extra money and put it on this. Any unnecessary traveling that you stop doing because you're not out there driving everybody around like a chauffeur, not getting gas money, and put that extra gas money on this, you'll find out that you'll have reoccurring payouts. And those reoccurring payouts can actually turn into a emergency fund. It's not wise to have a brokerage account exclusively utilized as an emergency fund, but it definitely is a very good fallback plan, because if you put 100% of your money into a brokerage account that is automatically generating you upward of 15%, 17%, while the money's not moving, it's making money make money for you. And then if in the event that you realize something happened and you need some money, you got to deposit the money into your account. The reason why people discourage you using a brokerage account for an emergency fund is because if you need money tonight, you got to wait 2 to 3 business days for it to be direct deposited into your account. However, if you do have a little bit of reasonable emergency fund and you prepare for certain things, have 2 or 3 extra spare tires, full-size rims, for flats, if you have most of your bills paid up 2 months in advance, the most emergencies that you can have are things that can wait a week or two to get a loan. And if you can wait a week or two to get a loan, you can just deposit the money from the brokerage account instead and use the money from the brokerage account. So now instead of having $5,000 in your savings account, just in case you don't have a job for the shutdown that's about to happen for 30 days, you have a brokerage account that's about to pay you. And you can, instead of reinvesting the money in the brokerage account, you can put it on your bills. Since you already paid this month, knowing that this month or next month you might not have a job, you can start getting the money from your brokerage account to start paying your bills for the month after. Because next month's already paid this month. And when you have that type of dynamic, you can exploit your brokerage account, because you could be putting away, like I said, $15,000 or $20,000 a year out of your salary. 20% of your income you could be putting away into your brokerage account. But if you as a smart woman are using a brokerage account and putting away 20% of your income, if you get with a man that's doing the same thing, or at least willing to do the same thing, where you can teach him how to invest if he don't know, guess what you're bringing to the table that most women aren't? Financial stability. That is a quality that we don't find in women. It's not, I got a job. It's, baby, I can handle a brokerage account that'll make us $1 million. Trust me. Look at how many hundreds of thousands I've gotten for myself. That's when you start showing higher value. It ain't about how attractive you are. It ain't about what your body look like, how many times sleep with the dude. What it's about is that you're able to put that money in places where other people don't fuck with it. Do you ever let people come into the video chat with you? A lot of what you're talking about reminds me of what I talked about on my live stream. Yeah, usually the show starts with links in the comment section. I don't know if y'all ever see them because y'all come in way late. But go, if you want to dive in, and typically you click the link, approve the mic, approve the camera, and it brings you on in real time. I kind of got to make sure when you hop into my green room that you are over the age of 18. So, I mean, if you are looking like you are not an adult, or if you're looking like a person that might be trying to troll the show, I won't put you up there. But, I mean, if you want to get in, yeah, all the time. All the time. Dylan was up here. He's actually one of our members. Dylan's been on the show quite a few times. We talked about aliens once when he came up on the show. Aliens on the dark side of the moon with their space station and stuff. We talk about all kinds of stuff on this show. And I encourage. We had Jesse who came onto the show, and we talked about politics and how much he thought that Democrats were idiots. We talk about everything on the show. It's just, you know, We were talking about registering your business with the state and paying taxes, etc. Um, Today, I'm talking about how the women could be getting brokerage accounts and investing in their future, and then finding a man that's doing the same thing. Instead of finding a man that's willing to pay $500 for a date, they need to find a man that's willing to put $500 in a brokerage account. But we do talk about registering your business with the state and paying taxes, etc. Yeah, I'm 39. That's cool. I'll try to get in earlier next time. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, then we're going to be wrapping up tonight's show. But yeah, tomorrow we're going to be talking about the shutdown, and we're going to be talking about how the shutdown is going to negatively impact your ability to make and save and invest money, because a lot of people are about to get fired again, at least temporarily. But Tuesday, we're going to be talking about starting up a business with the white labels software, because somebody told me on TikTok, they came to my channel from TikTok, and they were talking to me about selling software and making a lot of money off of software. And I never thought about doing that. That's a pretty good way to get things started if you're using it as a side hustle. So it's a fantastic idea. I want to do some research on it and then cover that. So in that dynamic, yeah, we can talk about whenever we're talking about business, finance, and investing on Tuesday. We can always talk about setting up businesses and other such things, and paying taxes and building trust, because I've covered a lot of those topics on the show over the past year, and covered getting trust in other countries, non-residential trust, offshore non-residential trust, in countries that don't charge you taxes, which offsets your requirement to pay taxes in America. A lot of stuff we talk about. So if you ever want to dive in, you just scroll up to the top of the comment section. Hopefully it's still there. Usually on YouTube it is, not so much on Twitter and Twitch. But YouTube is at the top of the comment section. If you scroll up to the top and you click that link, approve the mic, approve the camera, and it brings you on in real time. Likewise, in tonight's show, if you click the link, approve the mic, approve the camera, it'll have you registered. And then the next time you come to the show, you just pop in and it'll put you in my green room, and I'll bring you on, and you can by all means come in and talk. Because the women are often intentionally not taught about finance. I can agree with you about that, but women are not intentionally taught about finance because women don't know about finance, and women are typically taught by other women to not be positive. Children are raised by women more often than men. About 18% of children have their fathers in their lives, so they can't get financial advice from their dads, because a lot of dads are not allowed to be fathers through child custody cases. Those children learn all the finance that they're going to learn from the way their mother spends money. Schools don't teach children how to be financially responsible. And they don't teach anybody, boys or girls, how to be financially responsible. Boys are taught how to be financially responsible because boys are taught by men, and boys are taught by women that men are supposed to take care of women. So men have to get their money together so that they can qualify to be a good boyfriend. Most dads and most stepdads and most uncles will tell a boy who likes a girl that he ain't ready to date because he can't afford to pay for her. Most dads and most men and most uncles will tell a boy that he's not ready to get married because he can't afford to take care of her and the kid that she's going to have for him. Most men discourage boys from having sex because you can't afford for the child if the child came out, right? So men are taught to be financially responsible. Even though kids don't know what being financially responsible is about, we learn we have to go to work and make money, and we have to make enough money to pay our bills. Women have to find a man with money. And that's why women are not financially responsible, because they're not taught to make, save, and invest their own money. They're taught to go find a man with money, which is why the stigma is, and the dynamic is in 2026, that a man must make $100,000 a year so that he can take care of her. Not she needs to make $100,000 a year and then find her a partner that cooperate with her. Women aren't taught that. They're taught that if he makes less than her, he's not valuable. But if he doesn't make $100,000 a year, he's not valuable. Doesn't matter if she makes $100,000 a year. And that's a big issue. So on this show, I teach first person accountability. And that means that if you want a $100,000 a year man, you need to be a $100,000 a year woman, because a man is only supposed to be able to do for you what you can do for yourself for him to be on your level. So if you can take care of yourself at 40,000 a year, he can take care of you at 40,000 a year. But if you got 40,000 and he got 40,000, y'all got 80,000. And if y'all are living a $42,000 a year lifestyle, you got $38,000 to put into a brokerage account. You're still going to be a millionaire in a year, in 10 to 20 years. You're still going to be crossing over that million. All you got to do is, instead of both of y'all living in a low income neighborhood, coming together and moving into the suburbs, y'all stay in that low income neighborhood and y'all grind for 10 more years. And now you can buy a house in the suburbs, cash up front, and live the life of Raleigh and quit your jobs and spend the rest of your lives not having to try no more. Women aren't taught that. Women aren't taught to find a partner that is equal to them, because she is willing to invest as much into the future, physically, emotionally, and financially, as her partner. Women are willing to go 50-50 on a date because she's only willing to pay for her half. Women aren't willing to pay for the first 30 dates, 100% her financial responsibility. Men have to pay for every first date, but a man has 42 first dates in a year, sometimes 84 first dates in a year. That's a very big financial expense to never find the right one to get to the damn second date or the fifth date. Women don't pay for any dates more often than not, outside of paying for herself. So the women get entertained, and after she gets entertained, her entertainment does not teach her the value in the man. And then after that, after a number of dates, whichever one she sticks with spent the most money on her, but she still doesn't know what his character is. And that's when she ends up in the wrong relationship, because he's spending the kind of money she wants him to spend, but he's not responsible. And then he's giving her the quantity of sex that he wants, but she's not responsible. Then when the sex and the money stops becoming their priority, then they start figuring out each other's flaws. And that's why a relationship doesn't last more than 1 year, 5 months, and 6 days. We're all taught to find someone who completes you. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, but when we're taught to find somebody that completes us, we're taught to be incomplete. And now we're getting into a relationship out of desperation. And when you find somebody that completes you, that's actually a relationship out of convenience. If I'm dating you because I'm lonely, when I'm not lonely anymore, you don't matter. If I'm dating you because I'm financially strapped, when I'm no longer financially strapped, you don't matter. If I'm dating you because I'm horny and I'm no longer horny anymore, you don't matter. If I date you because we have a common goal for our future, you will always matter. That's a big difference. She said it really depends on the individual. I'm not a traditional minded female. I pay for all my stuff until I feel safe enough with the man to allow him to pay for me. Yeah, but you don't pay for all of his stuff so that you can stop paying attention to how much money he spends and pay attention to his character. So you never know what kind of man you got, because he's focused on spending enough money to impress you. Yeah, just because you pay for yourself doesn't mean that you're paying attention to his character. He could pick a more expensive restaurant because he knows he's only paying for half the bill. But that doesn't mean that he has value in you. All that means is that he's able to up the budget because you're going half. But I have talked to you guys all this week about different ways where you can spend less than $20 going on dates and paying attention to one another. I said, you missed the episode, but I said once that y'all could go to the grocery store together, buy a bunch of groceries, to buy the ingredients for your favorite meal, go back to the house, cook it together, and see how well y'all get along with shopping together, making decisions together, paying the bill together, going to the house, making the meal together, collaborating together in order to have that dinner. That shows how y'all are gonna get together and get along as a partnership for the rest of your relationship off of that one first date. Most people don't think about that. Most people think, I'm gonna cook for you on our date, or you're gonna cook for me on my date. But nobody ever thinks, well, let's buy your favorite meal and my favorite meal's ingredients, go back to the house and see how well we get along with making this shit. You will come to find out that some people are controlling. You will come to find out that some people are lazy. You will come to find out that some people are unmotivated. And that is from the first date. Just put them in that one situation, and that don't cost you no lot of money. Because yeah, you might spend $100 or $150 depending on the ingredients, but you're making enough food to last you for 3 weeks. If this first date works out, we're going to be sharing this meal for the rest of the month. She said, do you know how to complete yourself first? Yeah, I've gone through a couple shows on how you complete yourself first. I've talked about that in length. I got quite a few shows to build your own confidence, to build your own self-esteem, to build your own self-worth, to stand on your own non-negotiable expectations for behavior before you set the standard for somebody else to meet those expectations. I cover that at least twice a month. She said, that's why I like your show so much. You've got some very relatable views. Let's cook together. That's my point. So my views are relatable specifically because they're not about bashing women. My views are about teaching both the women and the men how we have been doing it wrong for so many years, and that's why we're not satisfied. Men are dating hoes or hoish behavior for quick sex and then hoping to find a wife out of that. Not going to work. Then the wife that you want is the daughter you would raise, and that's not the women you're breeding by teaching all of these women that they'll get attention from men if they put out all the time. Then women are dealing with broke men because the broke men are wasteful. Because the women's expectation is, since I'm going to give you sex, you better spend as much money on me as possible. Where her value is now, how much money he spent on her before she slept with him. Now, what she wants in a man is not there. How much money he spent is the only thing that matters. Girl, he loved me. He done took me to the club. He took me to this VIP. I got behind the scenes with Usher. We got yacht parties. He done flew me to Spain and all of this other stuff. But does he respect you? You could be dating Chris Brown. Chris Brown's rich. He has beat up 20 consecutive girlfriends. Is that a suitable husband for you? He will give you everything you're looking for from a broke dude who can't afford to do that to you, but he will show out for you financially. But he will beat your ass. Is that suitable for you? Not a lot of women think about that. They just, he got to be rich. He got to be well off. He got to have his own car. It's got to be a luxury car, this, that, and the third. But sweetheart, if he got a Nissan Maxima and check engine light not on, that man got his shit together. Y'all don't think about that. You know what I mean? If every time you see him, he covered in dirt and mud because he work at a construction site, he's got a stable job. Y'all not thinking about that. You know? Garbage men make $165,000 a year, but every time you come near him, he smell like trash. He got a full-time job, and he's the $100,000 a year man that you're looking for. But he a garbage man. You ain't trying to hear that. The fact is that when you prioritize your 20-year plan, the person that completes you is the person that has a similar 20-year plan. I want to not be broke. I want to not have to work, and I want you to not have to work in the next 20 years. Not putting everything on you. I want us both to not have to work so that we can spend the rest of our lives together, enjoying our future because we worked in that direction. You're not going to find very many people that have the same dynamic. Men will find women in the Philippines with that dynamic because the women are going to put that dynamic towards having enough money to buy groceries. She's like, you're talking about the exact type of people I don't fuck with. Exactly my point. Those are the people that a lot of the girls are going after. And that's why the women are not building husbands in the dating field, because the women are chasing dudes that's willing to throw money at the game. The man will throw money down on the table. If you're willing to go half, you don't pay attention to his character. If you're willing to pay for the whole date, what is he going to do now? His money is not valued in your decision making. How does he show you what he's worth now that he can't use his money to impress you? Women don't think about that. Women think egalitarian, we should go Dutch. But if he can't impress you with his wallet, what else is he bringing to the table? Pay for his entire half and see what he's going to do now. Is he just going to show up? Is he going to plan something affordable since he knows you're paying for it? Or is he going to go all out because he knows that you're going to pay for it all? Is he going to keep it simple and focus on you, giving y'all a quiet engagement with one another where y'all can learn about each other? Or is he going to get something so entertaining and distracting that y'all just hung out, but y'all never learned anything about each other? Is he going to prioritize getting to know you, or is he going to prioritize entertaining you at your expense? That's what you find out by paying for the first 10 dates. You want a financially stable man. As a woman, you need to invest in that. Just like Nicole is getting into the stock market. What stock market pays you without putting money down first? And you don't go half with the brokerage. You pay the whole stock to get your share. You don't go half with the boyfriend. You pay for the whole date. Because again, think about this. You take sex off the table. You got to bring your damn character. He take money off the table. He's got to bring his damn character. His decision-making skills is more important now because it don't matter how much money is spent because you're paying for it. Your decision-making skills is more important now because he's not getting sex out of this engagement, at least not the first 10. And he's not getting no nookie. So now y'all are paying attention to one another. That's how you got to pay attention to the dating game. Because we're not putting 5 or 10 years into being friends before we put 5 or 10 years into dating. We're putting I like you from across the room into let's get married. And right now, the dynamic is the guy's got to convince you by offering to spend a lot of money on a first date, or in some situations like Cardinal Rules wants to go half. He's still got to pitch a date that you're interested in, where you're interested in the event, not him. Then when you feel comfortable with him paying for you, he's going to pay for the rest of the dates. He's going to pay for the rest of the relationship. Then y'all are going to end up in a marriage. He's paying for that because you're not paying for the engagement ring. He's paying for the engagement ring. He's expected to pay for the marriage. You might go half on the marriage, but he's paying for the marriage, the honeymoon. Then y'all are gonna be living together. Y'all might go half on some of the stuff, but at the end of the day, he's paying for everything until the divorce. You're taking half of everything that y'all built. When you divorce him, when you're not satisfied with his lack of maturity after you've married him, thinking that he was going to evolve into a Raichu when you hit him with the moonstone, and you come to find out that he stayed a Pikachu, and Pikachu ain't shit with no training, you decided that you wanted a fucking Charizard. So you left his ass. And when you left his ass, you took all his shit. But if you would have been paying attention from the beginning, you would have realized he needs more training. It's all about having fun. The date better be fun. But that's not, the date is an interview, ma'am. It's not about having fun. You have fun after you know who the fuck you're having fun with. When the hell did women think that it's okay to go out on dates with Norman Bates, Freddy Krueger, and Jason Voorhees? Like, oh, well, as long as we're having fun, it's all good. What kind of bullshit is that? I respect your opinion, but what kind of bullshit is that? Because he literally could be 3 types of serial killer, but it's okay because he's paying for it and I'm having a good time. Come back missing a few things. At least I had a good time. YOLO! But why not find out the character of the man? I know a lot of girls that y'all be going out with y'all homegirls, and a good dude will walk up and y'all will block the fuck out of him. Y'all will treat him like a pedophile and not let him talk to your homegirl because he wasn't interested in you. But at the end of the day, y'all don't treat that behavior with the man that's talking to you, though. He paying for you now. You having a good time. Yeah, girls night out. Woo! She said, read the comments before that. It's not about money for me. No. I'm not saying you specifically, but that's what a lot of girls are doing, is that they're having fun on the first handful of dates. It's about having fun. It's not about having fun. The date is not about having fun. It's about knowing the other person. Because even if you're paying for your half, you're still having fun. You're not knowing the other person. Knowing the other person is supposed to be the priority. Having fun is supposed to happen when you know the other person. You know the other person first. Your first 10, 15, 20 dates are supposed to be boring as fuck because your goal is to know the other person. Do you go to when you went to college? Because you sound educated, Nicole. You're educated. I know Cordelia's educated. You went to college. Did you go to your lecture to have fun? No, you went to the lecture to learn something. After the lecture, you went to the frat party. After you graduated, after you passed your exam, because you wasn't going to the frat party the night before your exam, you went to the frat party after your exam. You learned something first, then you went and have fun. Your relationship is supposed to be the same way. You learn about the man first, then you go and have fun. You don't have fun with a man you don't know. And that's coming from a man. Y'all, you don't have fun with a man you don't know. You get to know him first, and then you go have fun with him. The first date is supposed to be anything but fun. It's not supposed to be full of anxiety, but it's definitely not supposed to be distracting from the person across the table from you. If you walked away from your first date and you don't know more than what his name is, you failed yourself in that date. The first 10, 15 questions, what's your name? What do you do for fun? What do you do for your career? How much do you make? That's really all women ask a man on the first date. Are you single? Do you have any kids? Is your ex still around? That's all y'all really ask about in a relationship. But do you have an emergency fund? Do you have a backup plan in case you lose your job? What's your 5-year ambition? Do you plan on traveling over the next 20 years? What countries do you want to go to? Are you planning on living in another country for 12 months or longer within the next 10 years? Do you want a family? How soon do you want to start that? How many kids do you want? Are you going to pay for their college, or are you going to let the government do it? Do you want your kids to be in private school? What kind of religious background do you have? These aren't questions that happen in the first 10 or 20 dates. These questions happen when you're about to get married. I don't know why, but these are the questions you're supposed to know the answers to before you go have fun. He's dreamy. That's what you know about him after the first date. Look, men ain't no better. Men ain't no better. He don't know what she's going to contribute to this relationship, but he knows she's hot, and he will sleep with her if she lets him. Both men and women are going into it from the wrong concept, from the wrong pair of glasses. Women are looking for security. She is supposed to be interviewing this man the way you interviewed your security company before you put them in your house. You looking for security. You're supposed to be interviewing this man the way you checked out your bank before you deposited your money in that account. You're looking for stability. You interview this man the way you interviewed your boss before they gave you that damn job. You're looking for long-term commitment. You're going to interview this man the way you interviewed that car dealer before you bought that damn car. Now, all the shit that you put effort in to make your life successful, and you put less effort in the man that's going to spend the next 40 years of his life with you, your priorities are not in order. You must put more effort into the man that you're going to share your life with than what you put into getting your job, going to college, choosing your college, getting your car, choosing a bank account, choosing a brokerage account, choosing a stock option. Look, Nicole just started with this. She's doing a lot of research on a stock option. If you put that much effort into researching your man, you will know that this is the right one for you. And then, fellas, if you do the same thing for your woman, you will find out that she is the right one for you. But that, again, brings us back to Cordelia. It is not a 1.5 year marriage. It's not a 1.5 year dating and then getting married. There's no, or Claudia, I said Cordelia. It is not, it is not 1.5 years, Claudia, to get married. Because all of that stuff that I just talked to y'all about would typically take you 5 years to know and be sure. All I do is put money and time into my business. I don't date, to be honest. Right? and the effort that you put into building a business, the effort that the research that you put into establishing your business, the effort that you put into growing your business, that's the same motivation you're supposed to put into the man that you choose to help you with that business. So, depending on the kind of business that you have, the best partner for you is one that complements the business. Whether you're in a business and he can do marketing, whether you're in a business and he can do sales, whether you're in a business and he can do accounting, whether you're in a business and he has clients that he can connect to your business and expand sales, a man that would complement what you got going on. He doesn't have to be exclusively in your field, but he can partner with your field. A man that complements your business is one that can build a website to help your brick and mortar business go international. That is what our ancestors meant when they said find the other half. If I got a real estate business, my partner should be a broker or a real estate agent, or a real estate agent that has a broker's license, or a contractor, because we can get together and make this better. If my partner has a clothing store, I'm supposed to be able to do something to accomplish that, or to accommodate that. She's got a clothing store. I should have connections to her supply chain. I should have abilities to market her product online where she can sell more products. If my partner's got a daycare center, I know a bunch of people who got kids that need a babysitter. That's what they meant by finding the other half. It wasn't I'm lonely, so let me find this person to fill my void. But as adults, that's what we do. So we're not stable, and we decide that our other half will make us stable. That's a bad decision. That's a relationship out of convenience. But once we become stable, what we do is we get rid of the other person, because that person was only here to make us stable. But then when we get rid of the other person, guess what happens? We go back to being unstable. It's a incredible scenario. And it's actually a self-fulfilling, reoccurring prophecy. How you get 80,000 subs? Well, I go live every night of the week, and actually it's 82,000 subs. I go live every night of the week, and I've been going live for the last 2 years. Yeah, two or 3 years, because we started 23, so 3 years. So that's how you get 82,000 subs. And actually, it's pretty hard to get 100, because as it stands right now, like, it's hard to. How you doing, Horse? It's time to. It's hard to get people to dive in and watch a show that's about a dude talking to other dudes about how to be better at being dudes. And the chicks that are coming in, the ladies that are coming in, that are learning now how to use that same information to make them better, but also find better quality men by watching how the men are learning from this show on how to be better men. Yeah, it's a hard fought battle. We don't. There are no hot chicks on this show right now that have 100,000 dudes sitting here watching. You know what I mean? You been trying to get more people to watch my live? Yeah. Well, it depends on which day of the week that you share, because if you share a show that women don't want to hear, that some women are messing up, unfortunately, they won't watch the show. If you share a show that's about business and finance, and the women learn, oh man, I can make money off of this guy, they might come to the show. If you share the show to a dude, especially if he's bitter, oh, he'll come to the show, because as soon as I start talking about how the women need to improve, he's like, yeah. The men stay, because the men will benefit 100% of the time. The women don't stay, because only when the women benefit will they stay. But when the women hear that they need to change too, that's when they take off running. So we typically hold about 70% of men on this channel, 60. We've had at some points 50%, 57% men, but we're now going back to where, as of yesterday, 67% men, because a lot of women fold coming to the show when it comes down to addressing the fact that women are making bad choices, which is why the women are not happy in the lifestyle that they live. The men are making bad choices too, but the men know that the men have to change themselves to see improvement. Women have learned that the men have to be better and do better so that the women can be happy, or the women are taught that the men ain't shit and you got to make yourself happy so you don't need a man. But all of those advices are wrong. You have to stabilize yourself as a self-sufficient entity so that you can make room for your partner, so that y'all can come together as a collective and build an empire with a legacy. And that only comes from teamwork and cooperation, and nobody's talking about teamwork and cooperation. So it's hard for people to come to my show, because the first thing you got to recognize is that the reason why you don't have another person sit next to you is because at one point in your past you was fucking up. Me too. Once you recognize that and you started changing yourself and started improving yourself for the better, you're still single, but you stop fucking up. You just haven't found a person that meshes with you, because the people that you meet are still fucking up. And the only thing that I can tell you is to stay strong and stay single and stay focusing on your grind until you find the right person. You might have to find the right person by going to another country, going to another state, going to another city. But when you find that right person, might not make as much money as you do. And as a woman, that's going to piss you off a little bit. But if he's got the right character, typically women in their 60s are not going to care if the man's got money, if she's got her own money, as long as she wasn't going through a large quantity of trauma from her past. If she finds a financially stable dude in his 40s, she'll take him. She'll be 60, he'll be 49 or 48 or whatever, and he's getting his stuff together. She's got her stuff together. They typically make something out of themselves. But the hard problem with that is finding a guy that's 49 is not willing, that does not want to be a dad when she's 59, 61. And that's like the tug of war right now in society. But you know, whenever you want to jump in, you can always jump in. I get a lot of trolls, like you seen Gary came through and he was asking about my subscribership, specifically because he's trolling. He has no interest in our topic. We're talking about relationship and self-improvement. He's talking about the quantity of people that subscribe to the channel. It is what it is. I respect it. And you know, I just keep it pushing, because there's what, 4 billion people on this planet. If 1 million people subscribe to me over the next 10 years, I ain't got to worry about that. If 250,000 people subscribe to me over the next year and a half, I still ain't got to worry about nothing. But whatever quantity of people that stick with this channel will all learn and grow and improve in your personal life decisions. And that will help you with your professional decisions, which will allow you to benefit more from the effort that you're putting into your future, your retirement. Because whether you start your own business or you work for somebody else, at some point you are going to want to stop. And if you don't have a plan, you are not going to be able to stop. And the end all be all goal of this podcast is to teach people how to reach the point where you are safely able to stop and be happy about where you stop. Right? This takes a lot of work, though. It is not easy. It is not an overnight get rich quick scheme. It is legitimately a 20-year plan from the day you decide that this is what I want to do with my life. But when you get there, you will be overly satisfied with the end results. It just requires you to put a lot more effort into your outcome. All right. That's all I got for you guys for tonight. I'm going to start off by saying, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. Fellas, I do this to make you guys higher value men, but you guys have to prioritize the things in your life that are inside of your control that you do not like, that you can change, and then navigate around the things that you cannot. Ladies, you too, as I've told you before, can make yourselves higher value women, but you have to set up your 20-year plan and what efforts you're going to put towards that 20-year plan so that you can at some point reach that moment of stopping point. And if you find a partner along the way with the same mentality as you, even if there's not so much the same goals, but similar direction, you have a partner that you guys can tackle each other's goals together, which actually builds longer, healthier relationships, and you guys can accomplish each other's goals in a faster perspective where you end up meeting that 20-year plan in a shorter period of time. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between, and I will see you guys tomorrow night.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.